Central. Broadcasting live from Central California with your hosts Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas. Broadcasting video worldwide at ParanormalCentral.net and broadcasting audio on the internet at artbell.com. Are you ready to witness something you cannot explain?
I'm looking for you. You're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained? Look into the sky. You realize we're not alone. Open your eyes. You can find trails that control.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from the bottom left-hand corner of the Nevada Triangle in a city called Fresno, California. Hello everyone, my name is Jeffrey Gonzalez. I am your host for the show. I'm also the founder of a group called the Sanger Paranormal Society. Been investigating the paranormal going on for 14 years, so I'm just not up here talking about it, actually living it. I got a member of the team sitting here with me, Mr. Host, co-host, Alan Thomas, way over there.
Hey, I'm way over here, but I can still see you.
And in the studio today, we have two good friends of ours, Brian Morgan and Kathy Morgan. Hello. Tracy, I'm sorry. Tracy. I know Tracy. Trust me, I know who Tracy is. Tracy, thank you guys for showing up. Oh, just look at my...
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for showing up. For all those who don't know, how did we meet Tracy? How did we meet you?
I was a fan of your work.
You could turn it up a little bit.
I was a fan of your work for a long time, and then we met because my husband did an interview with you.
And you just showed up all just,
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Now I remember. And then you started telling me what you did, and I went, what?
Yeah.
So, all right, well, thank you guys for showing up. We are broadcasting live HD quality video on live stream every Sunday at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time, California time, and we also are broadcasting on Facebook Live as well. Thank you to all the fans all around the world who are watching us right now. We are in the top 5% on live stream of all live stream broadcasters. We are beating ESPN. We are beating the stock market exchange.
We're beating Elvis.
We're beating Graceland. We're beating some Fox News affiliates. But yeah, awesome. I mean,
That is awesome. Congratulations.
that's awesome. So
The next thing we were beating the king, it was like, we're beating the king by like 10,000 followers.
That's crazy. But okay, well, thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate it. I've been wanting to get you in here for a long time. Let me introduce everyone to who we have here. We have Tracy. First, it was... But how did I...
You posted something on your page
In the
about
microphone.
ghost encounters in Sanger.
Thank you.
And my husband actually had an encounter.
Right.
So he went on your show.
Right.
And while we were filming, and we started talking about what I do now.
Right.
And that's how we came into contact.
So, let's tell everybody let's see. You guys are now retired Sheriff County, Fresno County.
Yes, we both work for the Fresno County Sheriff's Office here in Fresno. I worked there for about 16 years, and I'm retired. And I got into hypnotherapy as a second career. And so I've just started this new journey. And I work with people from all walks of life. I specialize with people who are dealing with grief, with PTSD, with past life regression type things, and helping people get over phobias, fears, those types of things. And I just had a a class yesterday, a past life regression class, and there were about 7 people who came, and every single one of them had an experience.
There at the class?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. All of them explored different lifetimes. We did 2 different lifetimes, and it was pretty neat.
Awesome.
You believe that, though? You believe that they have lifetimes?
Yes, I do.
I want to know if I have a lifetime, like more past this other.
Well, when we had our experience, when you all came to my office and we did some hypnosis, Alan was probably the most available to go into trance state. So if you'd like to explore that, Alan, that is totally cool with me.
Is that because of all the drugs that he takes?
I wonder.
Well, we did have somebody who maybe had a little bit of drug inhibition that we couldn't get past.
Right?
Oh, that wasn't me.
No, it wasn't.
Naming no names.
Don't look at me.
Oh, Robert.
I have no names.
Oh, too late. No, not you. No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Robert
kidding.
Scott. I
We
mean,
can
everybody
say-
knows who Robert Scott is.
Robert.
and
Everybody knows Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
He only likes the kind.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm from here. I'm from the Central Valley, born and raised. Been here my whole life.
You went to
Love it.
Sanger?
I did. I went to Sanger High School, class of '89.
84,
There we go. I'm pretty sure I know your family.
probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so
Big-
I'll let.
big
So
family.
you grew up in Sanger? You know the Palestrinis?
I don't believe so.
What was the other ones? Oh well, I'll think
Okay.
of them later. I got lots of family over there too. Just wondering.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And I do not live in the Chancla. So if anybody wants to ask a question about that, negative. Not in the Chancla.
That was on the east side of the railroad track, people.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just not from there.
Yeah, I was on the other side. So
Okay.
okay, so
I'll give it over to my husband
so-
so he can introduce himself.
so
You guys wave at everybody on the other side.
yeah.
Hey, look over here. We
no, you don't
live
want to.
there.
You don't want to go on the other side of the railroad track at night. Man, let me tell you. So, Brian, so how long have you been? Were you with the sheriff's office?
I was with the sheriff's department for 16 years.
16 years.
Yeah,
Is that where you guys met?
it was.
It
We met
was.
at work.
At work, I bet. Huh?
Yes.
I'm gonna be out.
Not during
I'm
work,
be
at
taking
work.
a 10 break area at 7-Eleven. Okay. You're smiling because I know your trick. All right,
At
so
the 7-Eleven
at the
at
7-Eleven.
Belmont and
So-
Clovis Avenue.
Oh, they figured us out.
Belmont and Clovis is really hopping.
That's where
Yeah, a
you
lot of
go.
sheriff's
That's where you
officers
can
go.
get a car wash together.
A lot.
Free.
A lot of times.
So, all right. So, I put a question out for our TV show for people who had experiences right around Snake Road, Channel Road, out east of Sanger, California, and you responded. Did you make them respond, Tracy?
A little. I was like, hey, check this out. You gotta respond to
Yeah.
this. I said, that story that you have, it's pretty fascinating.
Okay.
I think people will be intrigued by it.
Exactly. So, so we made an appointment. He came over for the TV show, and I interviewed him, and that was like one of the first 5 episodes that we did, I think. So tonight, I want to really okay. You guys are retired. You guys are no longer Fresno County Sheriff's Office. Okay, no more badge. It's gone. It's on the shelf.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna talk about stuff that you've never talked about before, about the stuff that you guys have went on calls, on houses. You guys have told me some cool stuff that I want to let the people out there know about that stuff. Okay, and then we're gonna talk about what you do now, as far because I know you brought some stuff in, but we're gonna have fun. Like I said, I called you guys up. We're at a bar. We're having a beer, and we're just talking it up, and we are having fun. All right? Okay. Okay.
All right.
Everything goes here. I don't want you to hold back top secret stuff. If I get you drunk enough, I got some tequila right here. I want you to spill it out and just go all out. All right?
Well, good luck with that. I'm Irish. So.
Okay. Oh.
He's got a spigot on his toe.
Okay. Now, for all those who are out there watching us right now, I have the production crew in here. Our main guy, Mr. Chris, is running 3 cameras for the TV show. We're actually going to film this and put it on the TV show as well on the CW. So every 10 minutes, we have to take a quick break. He has to reset all the cameras, and then we're going to come back really quick. We're not going to shut off the cameras or this camera, but we have to let him do his stuff. So we'll be right back.
And then we just sit here and go.
Take a drink. Everybody take a drink.
Well, we are at a bar.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. And I'm gonna drink my non-alcoholic drink.
Cervecita. If you guys want some tequila, let me know. We'll take a shot, okay? I might take a shot here myself in a bit. All right, ready? All right, we're back.
On your mark, set, go.
Okay.
Wait, you gotta do a sound thing. No.
Nah, I don't think so. Go. Okay.
Sound check.
Well, let's start off how we came to meet with you, and that was with Brian's story. Brian, back in the days when, what year was this when this happened? And put that microphone up here. So everybody can hear.
87?
87? Okay.
Late 86, 87. I don't remember for sure. It was in the winter. It was cold.
Okay. So you were in Orosi, I believe?
No, I was in Orange Cove.
In Orange Cove. Go for it. Start from there.
I was in Orange Cove, and I was driving in to Sanger. I was going to eat breakfast with another deputy and an officer from Sanger PD. We were going to meet up and eat.
And that was at the Perco's and the Gong's Market Southgate.
Yes.
Right.
And so I was driving on Goodfellow, and I was being a typical deputy. I was driving pretty fast.
How fast were you going?
Fast.
90?
It was a Crown
Maybe.
Victoria,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe.
Okay.
Not through the curve though. I started to come into the curve, so I was going to slow down.
Right.
And right when I hit the first curve, I right before I hit it, I saw a woman and I thought a kid, standing there. They were in. She was in like a long jacket, like a long jacket.
Okay.
And then the boy, and I was going too fast, so I slowed down as I went around the curve, and I thought I better go back and check them.
Okay.
And
why did you want to go back and check them? Because
it
out
was
there,
really cold,
right?
and it was extremely
About
late.
What time do you think?
3
3 in the morning?
3 in the morning.
Okay, so to see a lady and a little boy out on the side of the road at 3 o'clock in the morning, out in where Snake Road is, that not normal?
No,
It's
not at all.
normal. Okay.
So I braked pretty hard. I stopped. I got the car turned around. I came back, and when I came back around, I called it in. And my friends that were waiting for me, they heard me make a check, so they came out also. And I called it in that I was checking too.
Now, I didn't know that sheriff's officers that when you're on when you get on the radio, that Sanger police can hear you. Because they were Sanger police and you're sheriffs, right?
Yeah. Well, my buddy and them, they were together at the time.
Oh.
They were sitting,
Gotcha.
talking, waiting for
So
me.
one was the sheriff and one was Sanger PD.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So I called it in. I called it in a dispatch, and I turned around. When I turned around and came back, I didn't see anybody. So I was like I didn't know what was going on. So I stopped the car. I got out, and I got out my flashlight, and I started looking, and I couldn't find them. And I looked all over the place, and I didn't see anything where they were at. I didn't see any shoe tracks or anything like that. And it was like wet because the dew had come down.
Right.
And there was no, I couldn't see where they'd left.
Right.
So
You would have seen tracks from them going in either into the field or the dirt, but you didn't see anything.
no. And I wasn't gone that long.
Right.
I didn't have my eyes off of them for that long.
Okay.
So I looked around while I was looking for them. My friends came, and they asked me what happened, and I told them, and I was still looking, and I looked on both sides of the road, and I couldn't find anything anywhere. So I was still looking, and then they, the one guy starts laughing.
Okay, so now you have 3 officers. You have 2 officers and your buddy. There are 3 patrol cars, and you're telling them what you just witnessed, and your buddy starts laughing at you. What? I mean,
Because they'd just been talking about Snake Road.
okay.
They'd just been talking about that road,
Uh-huh.
and they said, "You saw it, you saw it." I'm like, "You saw what?" And they're you saw La Llorona. Now they also helped me look a little bit, and they couldn't see him either. And I was like, "What?" And then they told me a story about something about a woman that either drowned
So
her
you
kids.
didn't know anything of the history of Snake Road at all then?
No,
So
nothing.
it was completely, you were completely clueless.
I had no idea. No,
Okay.
None.
That's awesome. See, that's awesome because somebody who doesn't know the history and all of a sudden you see this, that's awesome. You know, and I mean, that how credible can you get right there? Not that more than you're a sheriff's officer too. You know, that helps, but yeah, okay. So
I wonder how many people do see that but had no prior knowledge of it. You know what I mean? Like, because from what I understand, a lot of people see that.
Okay, so
Like, it's a famous
your
thing.
buddy started to laugh at you, and you said, "What the hell?" I mean, La Llorona, what's that? And so they went and continue with the story. Go for it.
You know, they told me the story, and I would just think bullshit.
Right.
You know, and so I kept looking.
That's
I
okay.
like that guy.
And then, you know, after a couple minutes, they're like, let's go eat.
Right.
But I'd seen something.
Right.
And I didn't. But I couldn't figure out where they went. It was, that was really,
Weird.
Yes.
I mean, for them to be there and all of a sudden you make a Yui, boom, and they're gone.
yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Now, did you turn on? I mean, did you turn on your spotlight and your police lights and all that when you pulled over? Or?
You know what? I turned on the flashing lights on the back when I pulled over, and I did use a spotlight, but I couldn't see them.
Wow.
I had my flashlight out. I couldn't see them anywhere.
Now, the last time we talked, you were saying that the way she was dressed and her hairdo was not normal to the 80s,
No, it looked a little bit older.
right?
It looked a little bit older.
Was it like the 50s or?
Or early 60s probably.
Okay.
Maybe 50s, early 60s.
Okay. And what she was wearing was not right with also that the 80s. I mean, it was more of high top, her, like the dress was above her knees maybe, or?
Well, yeah, but her coat was just below the knee.
Okay.
And it wasn't a coat like most people wear now.
Mhm.
I mean, there's some, but it wasn't. It was one of those long coats.
Okay.
So it just didn't make sense.
Right. So what do you think you saw that night? Did you
Yeah, like
prior
like
to
I
that
have a
incident?
question.
Prior to that incident, did you believe in ghosts? Prior to that incident?
Well, I certainly thought there's a possibility.
Okay.
Okay.
What about this? Like, this is what you're cruising along. Okay, you see something that doesn't fit, and immediately you kind of feel like it don't. Did it look like glowy or see-through, or was it really normal looking except for what they look like? You know, like dress-wise.
No, and you know, there's a lot of fog in that area.
Yeah.
But it was so cold, there wasn't any fog.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't foggy.
So it was clear.
Yeah, it was pretty clear. You could see you could see far enough that I could drive fast safely, or
Right.
pretty safely. So
Right. Okay.
they used to have all those walnut trees down a little bit farther, and I'd been through there a couple times, and that was really scary. I never wanted to like stop in there, but that was the first time I actually saw somebody, and I
Right.
just
Well, you had to. I mean, that right there, you're thinking, did their car just go off the edge or something, and they're are they asking for help, or
or I thought maybe
kidnapped?
I thought there had been some domestic violence, and
Right.
they got out of the house or something like that. Because there's that one creepy house that was pretty close by.
That is exactly what my cousins now own the Champions. They own that property there. Okay, and we actually shot a pilot in that house I know exactly what the house is. So, what if there's a connection?
But I was concerned for their safety. Yeah, I
Sure.
thought there might be something.
Sure.
Something was wrong for
Well, no,
somebody to be
you
out
were
there
doing
3,
your
4 in the
job,
morning.
man. I would have done the same thing, even if
Yeah.
I wasn't a patrol officer and I saw a lady and a little boy. I would have pulled over. Okay, well, that's hey. Now, did you see the Llorona? I'm going to say probably not. I don't think you saw the lady in the white dress. I mean, that's totally something different that people see on Snake Road. I mean, there's tales, and the tales of Tracy. What do you know about the Llorona?
I've heard several different versions of it.
Okay.
One version is that the woman was supposed to be married, and she lost her fiance. I guess he died or something, so she drowned herself in the river there right off of the Goodfellow Bridge, and she was wearing her wedding dress when she drowned herself. So that's one story that I've heard. And then the other is that she lost a child and that she couldn't bear the grief, so she drowned herself. And she drowned herself in the dress that she wore to her child's baptism. So that's why it's white.
There's so many stories
There
that go out.
is.
There is. I know. I just like, La Llorona really comes from Mexico, and that's where it started from. But now it's in freaking Sanger.
Yeah.
Go figure, right?
Yep.
So
Trump, they better watch out for Trump then.
What?
He's gonna get rid of him.
Oh, we don't talk politics, right?
actually, we do.
He drains the swamp though.
Okay.
See, no.
We talk about everything here. We talk
Okay.
about stuff you did when you were a child, and if you want to get into that,
It's all about love. We're all connected. We just are.
You
really are.
you can't let the politics stuff get to
You really can't.
Yeah.
But it can trigger some very negative.
Yeah, some people.
Feelings.
I think shallow people get triggered.
Or people who are very passionate.
But only is it in your control?
No.
The only thing's in your control of how
Is
you
you.
react to it,
And
right?
is you. And how you
So if
impact
you get
the world.
triggered, then you're kind of shallow, or the person would be shallow, or not.
maybe they just
She's
need to
gonna
drink
punch
some
me.
more.
I do
No,
that to
no,
my
no,
wife. She's like, okay, come here, boy. But only I'm just.
I think
kidding.
that's one description for it.
I
but
actually
it's-
joke about both sides because I don't like none of them.
Thank you.
There we go.
I'm right there with you.
I mean, like, the only thing I like about the guy is he is stirring up the crap, and nobody's done that for a long time. You know what I mean?
Okay, we got to go to a break, and we'll be right back in 30 seconds.
Okay.
But only, yeah, I'm totally like don't like none of them. I don't think they work for us no more. None of them.
No.
It's sad because when we were little kids, I remember I was riding on my bicycle a Stingray, a
Okay.
Huffy Stingray.
Oops.
He's not done.
No, hold on. You move the camera.
I dragged the flag, and I thought the neighbors were going to kill me
They should have.
because the flag touched the ground. It was like illegal or something.
I would have beat your ass for that.
They used to, yeah.
It really was,
It was
you
believed
know.
that if the flag touched the ground, that you had to burn
All
it.
right, we have a lot of people in Facebook, and I'm just barely looking at it right now. We have, I can't, there's too many. Hi, I'm looking at it right now. And Isaac, are you on the train? Yes,
We have
he is.
103 in live stream.
Okay. All right, so let's continue. We are back, and we are talking about everything. La Llorona is what we're talking about right now. Yeah, I used to be told, my mom used to tell me that story, and my grandma used to tell me that story when I was a kid, but I never used to go. As a kid, I went to Sanger High, junior high. I never did ride my bike past the railroad tracks.
Oh, no way.
Why were you
Not
afraid?
that far.
No, not
You're
that far.
afraid of it?
I went to Chuck Wagon, and that was it. That's as far as I went.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't go to Chuck Wagon and fear for your life, and as far as you go?
Really?
Heck yeah.
I was a little more adventurous.
Yeah?
I would walk by Lincoln School
Mhm.
to the community center. We used to go
Ooh.
swimming. Yeah, we used to go to, remember Zip and Go right there on Sanger Street?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, we used to go
Man,
there.
Zip and Go. They don't even have those.
No,
anymore,
they
do
don't.
Zip and Go.
Yeah.
A&W was right there at where 7-Eleven is now. Remember that?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
crap. I'm
Yeah.
old.
We used to walk over to bar packing and get the culls from the fruit that they were packing.
Mhm.
And we'd take that so we could eat at the swimming pool.
Now, I I actually went to the community center, but my mom took me.
Okay.
Okay, well, anyways, let's continue on. All
You
right.
didn't have a Stingray?
No.
man.
Okay. So, yeah, so that cool. So, let's talk about now, let's go back years to where you guys were sheriff's officers. While we interviewed Brian back in the day, and you guys still had a lot of stories that you were telling us about calls that you went on, and maybe your friends went on. Now, we don't have to say names, okay? You can say city, and you can say, what type of call you went to a house in this particular city, but you don't have to give the address or the street name or anything like that. I think our fans would love to hear what kind of calls do come in to dispatch that our police get dispatched on, and they really don't have anyone to tell but us geeks here at Paranormal Central.
Yeah, but can they tell though?
Well,
You
I
know.
think the people who are working right now would be very hesitant to tell.
Oh, right.
Just because this kind of stuff is very woo-woo-y,
Right.
and police don't do woo-woo-y.
Right,
We
right.
just don't. We call them people 5150. Okay, we just that. Well, I should
I haven't heard that
differentiate
one in
because
a
I'm
long
not.
time.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not doing
Well,
police
you know,
work
even if
anymore.
you start talking about that and you're on the force, that can hurt you, can it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, people start
mean,
looking at you, and
If
you
you
know,
want to go up in the ranking, that can help. That can hurt.
right?
Like
right.
Manny Amparano.
Yeah, we'll talk about him. We'll talk about him.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah. So I shared with you a couple of calls that my friends went on that
Okay.
we talked about after. There was one house just outside of Easton, and the family kept calling that there were possibly people in their house. And it was a burglary call. That's what it was entered as, you know, possible burglary in progress, or, you know, so a few deputies get dispatched out there. One of them was a canine unit. And they get out there, there's lights on in the house. They go in the house and they search it. There's nobody there. They go down into the basement. And what was described is that the dog was just going crazy around the walls in one particular area. And he just would not stop barking. Well, they couldn't find anybody in the house. And what my friend described was, she said there was just an eeriness and a scariness in that house. She wanted to get the heck out of there. So they end up clearing the house, you know, putting a code 4 out, which means all is clear, they can't find anybody, and they end up leaving. Well, like most calls, when you have something a little strange like that, you go down the street and you get out of your car and you talk about it.
But who called though?
The family.
But the family doesn't live there.
No, the family didn't live there. Apparently, it was a family member's house. I want to say it was like the parents' house, the mom's house.
Okay.
And the family had another house in the back of the property. So they could see the house.
Gotcha.
They didn't see anybody go in the house.
Okay.
But they could see that there was a light on in there, and they were concerned that somebody was burglarizing the house,
Got
and
it.
that's why they called. So after the deputies leave, they go down the street and they start talking, and it's not even 5 minutes later. The family calls back again. The lights are back on.
So the deputies turn off all the lights as
Yeah,
they left?
they turned off everything before they left. They locked, they secured it, everything.
Wow.
So they go back, they do another check. The same thing happens again with the dog, just hitting on the basement and that one wall. And again, they're like, we're done. We're out of here. We're not coming back. You need to check your electrical. But so she was like, let's go check that house out. I'm like, no. You know, I carried a big old Smith & Wesson 45, but there's some things you can't shoot.
That's
There you go.
true.
There you go.
Yeah, there's just some things that are out there that, you know, you can't
And
deal
you're
with
not
that.
even sure if you can run fast than that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I theorized
Mm-hmm.
that the dog was hitting on a vortex, some type of vortex of energy that, you know, that they have an extra sense
Sure
that
they
we
do.
don't.
Mhm.
And so we had certain houses that we all kind of joked with each other that's like the haunted house. Oh man, I ain't going out there, you
Yeah.
know, kind of thing. Like
Wow.
Avocado Lake.
Right.
We talked about that.
Oh,
you know.
we're going to talk about that right now too.
Ooh,
Okay. So that was one of the houses.
That was
in
one
Easton.
house.
Okay.
Okay. And then another house. This one was in Biola, and I want to say it was gosh, maybe an Asian family. I don't remember the ethnicity, but there were some ritual practices that this family was doing in the house. And so they had major disturbances in the house, and two of my deputy friends went out to that one. And when they got out there, they went in so that they could figure out what was going on. And the family could not describe exactly what they were having a disturbance with to somebody who doesn't believe in that. You know, it was more of a spiritual talk, more of a you know, an entity. There's an entity in here. And so, you know, deputies think, man, you're crazy.
Right.
Well, so anyway, they go in and they check the house, and one of them saw the wall moving, like, and he'd never seen anything like it before. It scared him big time.
Really?
So they just went in and made sure there was nobody there, and they got out of there. And he never wanted to go back to that house
So
again.
that it was waving the
The
wall.
the wall actually waved. The way he described it to me was that it actually, like, it was moving, like you can see it. I would say it would be like an energetic move of the wall, you know, kind of like a parallel shift.
Okay.
It reminds me
Maybe.
of
Wow.
is it Star Trek or something like that, where they could hit the wall and it would go, "Roar," and
Right,
they
right.
could talk back and forth through it.
So I don't know what that was. You know, all I know
Portal.
is that he was affected by it. I believe him. And the other deputy that was with him, I mean, they both,
Just the one deputy saw it, not the other?
the other saw it too.
Holy crap.
But neither one of them want to talk about it. Like, he shared that with me,
Uh-huh.
and then after that, it was like, it's something you just don't talk about anymore. You know, it was, he rationalized it, it was in my head, you know, but he didn't ever want to go back to that house again.
Wow. Well, okay, let's talk about that. What if a call comes in, that deputy is around the corner from that house, he gets a call, he just can't
Too
say
bad. Too bad. He has got to go.
He has got to go,
Yeah,
right?
he's got to go.
Yeah.
I said he didn't want to.
Right.
I didn't say that he wouldn't.
That's a different story. That's funny. Okay.
Like I'm 1021. Yeah.
All right. So, okay. More stories. I want more stories. Come on.
Okay. I have a friend who was a community service officer, and she's really into this ghost hunting thing. She's really into the paranormal, so she loves going to like different cemeteries. You probably know her, and I'll tell you her name off of the air, but I won't do it on the air.
In the cemetery.
She does. She loves going to cemeteries. She like invested in all this, you know, EFT equipment, or what is that called? Is it
EVP.
EVP.
Yeah.
EFT is what I do. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, that's not the right an acronym. So anyway, she wanted to go up to this sacred burial ground up in by Pine Flat Lake, and you need a key to get back there. And so she went up there, and since she knows the deputies, she asked if they would unlock the gate and go up there with her, you know, because she wanted to kind of take her equipment up there and just kind of get a feel of what was going on up there. So it was, I want to say, 2 deputies and her. And she's not on duty. She's just in her civilian car. So they go up there, and one of my friends, he described it, that it was like this little stucco building, rock building, you know, kind of Native American, I guess that's what it was. And he said when they got there, his radio didn't work. You know, they could not get anything on the air. He said there was this eeriness, this heaviness, and none of her equipment worked either. And they were like, we need to like wrap this up. He says, man, I didn't want to tell her, hey, I'm a little scared, we need to leave.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you don't have any way to communicate outward, tell, hey, we're in trouble. I mean,
Right.
so nothing was working, huh?
But that's just, yeah, it's just fascinating. You know, there's
Wow.
areas like that. And so, but I think the more important thing was the feeling that they were experiencing when they were there, because they were talking about how eerie it was and how alone they felt there and how it felt otherworldly and not in a good way.
Ooh.
So
How did your friend know about this place? Somebody tell her about the burial
I don't know.
ground?
I don't know. She just, again, she's into all the paranormal
Right.
stuff, so she's
Much
a little more familiar with locations, I guess.
Heard
Man,
about
that's
that
the first
location.
time I ever heard anybody say, like, I felt that feeling before. A real alone feeling, even though you're not alone.
Right.
But you feel like, you know what, like, you're in a bad spot where you're vulnerable.
Right.
And you don't know what it is could be coming
Okay.
after you know?
Okay, we got to take a 30-second break. We'll be right back.
You know what, on the 30-second break, I got a question. In California, how many trailers can you have hooked up?
Oh, we just saw because I've seen fifth wheel, pick up fifth wheel, and sometimes they haul a boat or a small trailer.
Car, yeah, or something.
Is that legal?
I have
If the
no
fifth wheel's
idea.
behind the trailer,
No,
you can't have it in between.
no. So it'd be the pickup, the fifth wheel, and a little boat behind the fifth wheel.
Pick up fifth wheel boat. Yeah, they can do that.
But,
Yes.
But you don't have to have a special license or anything.
Okay, what about
But
if it's not a
it
fifth
has to be
wheel?
within a certain length, though, too, doesn't it? I think the
Yes.
length matters, right?
What about if
Sweet,
it's
I know.
what if it's a pull trailer camper, but not a fifth wheel, and they're pulling a boat? Because that's what he really was doing.
Yeah, that I don't
He had
think
like
you can do.
he had like a regular hitch
I have
trailer,
no idea.
and then a
CHP's
boat on the
like
back of
experts
that.
at that, and
Okay.
Yeah.
they're the ones who would know.
All right, we are back. Okay, so Tracy
that
is
was a
telling
way out
us some
question,
cool
huh?
stories of friends in the force back then, experiences in houses, and Brian, any? Let's go with you now.
You know, we both had an experience with one person in court, but one of the first ones that I just felt something from somebody. When I was first a deputy, on Fridays, I had outline courts, but on Fridays I was in town, and I was assigned to Wilbur Jennings. Wilbur Jennings was the ditch bank murderer, and I would take him to court on Fridays. And he was a big, huge man, and he'd killed, it was more than 10 women. He strangled them. They call him the ditch bank murderer. And he was...
Remember what year this all happened?
Yeah, that would have been 86.
Okay, right around there.
Yeah, and it's when he was convicted.
Okay.
And they sent him in. And...
What a sick dude.
Oh, he was a beast. And he was always looking to work like intimidating somebody, and I had to go get him
Like
by myself.
Deputies, right?
And so, and I could really feel it from him. There was something more with him. And then there were a couple of other ones.
So you think he was possessed?
Oh, he was evil. That was like I could just feel the evil coming off of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, without even touching him. I had to hook him up.
Right.
I had to put handcuffs on him and everything, and leg shackles, because I wasn't going to mess with that guy who was too big.
Right.
But and he was evil. So there was, I had felt that from a couple other people, especially when I worked in homicide. You could get around him and you were like, that's just not right. So anyway, I went to visit Tracy. After she was a deputy, she started working in the courts, and she had a courtroom, and she had a trial, and I didn't know what the trial was or anything. We hadn't talked yet, and I came in and I sat down in the courtroom. I was waiting for lunch, and we said hi and everything, and they brought her inmate in, and as soon as he came in the room, I was like, "You need to be careful with him." I mean, you could just feel it, and he was pretty bad. He was a very bad man too, and she almost argued with me like, "Oh, I know that," but it wasn't like I was like correcting her. I was like really worried about it, but she had some of the same feeling about it, because he was really dangerous and tried to do something later.
It's just this energy that people have. You can just feel it. You know, if it's a really negative energy, and you know, people call it evil, and I call it negative.
Sure.
Because not everybody subscribes to the whole evil idea, you know.
Right.
Anyway, but he just had this intensely negative energy, and the crimes that he was there for were heinous crimes. You know, he'd murdered a woman and raped her and did horrible things to her, and you know, it was just one of those things, and so you know, I always had to be on guard, and we always had to be on guard, but
sure.
There are some people that you're just a little more cautious with, and he was one of them. And one day they did a cell search while he was in court, and he and I just didn't get along. But they did a cell search, and they found a plastic shank that he was shaving down.
Great.
So who knows what this guy, you know, had intended for that. I don't know if that was for me or if that was for somebody else.
Well,
who knows?
You were pissing him off.
To me, the
Probably.
scariest ones are the ones that look all nice.
Well, he was a
And
kind of
they're
a clean
the
cut.
worst, you know what I mean? Like, inside of them is the worst, but they're all like, you would let your daughter go to dinner with them, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't have let my daughter go to dinner.
No,
but
what I'm saying is there's some like
At
that.
first glance, you see something, and yeah, because the guy was clean.
and they look quite normal. His name was Jeremy Overstreet. So, and I know that they've done like true crime
My
documentaries
favorite
on
show.
him, and I want to say that was like maybe in 2002, maybe 2001, 2002, somewhere around there.
Wow.
But you just feel those energies, and so that's kind of segues into intuition, because that's kind of what the paranormal is about. You know, all this energy and this intuitive type of psychic energy, and a lot of police officers have this, and they don't really realize that they have it. You know, everybody does.
Sure.
But really good cops really have it, and we call it a spidey sense, or you know, that just extra sense that you have when something's not right. It's your intuition telling you that there's something there. So for my cop friends that are watching, you know, before you discount this type of work, acknowledge that you do have this intuitive ability when you know that there's somebody in a car, or you have a feeling about a certain crime and what happened and who's responsible for it. So all those things just kind of go in together, and that's kind of how I got into the work that I do now, because it's still working with intuition. It's still in the same line, it's just different verbiage that we use.
Has any one of your friends ever come to you and say, "Hey man, something happened and it was weird," and tell you a story?
Oh yeah.
You
I
know,
have a
how did I know that was going to happen? And it's like I knew it.
well, they share experiences with me, but they're not really sure what it is. They just know that it exists and that their experience was real. And this can be just in actually solving a crime, or it can also be what has been more common with me in talking to my friends who are still in law enforcement, are people who have actually crossed over, and the energetic imprint of the person who's crossed over is still sending them messages. They leave signs, those there's people who believe that,
Right.
that they're our beloved loved ones who have crossed over leave us signs all the time, especially when that energy is fresh. They've just crossed over. They'll use butterflies, birds, coins, insects, the radio, to play particular songs. So I have a lot of friends in law enforcement who will share those experiences with me, because I believe they don't want to feel like they're going crazy, but they want that validation that it does exist. And I truly believe that it does, because I've experienced it. Yeah.
Have you ever died, like in your
No,
death?
I've never had a death experience. I find those fascinating, though. Was it you that was telling me you had a death experience?
Yeah.
That's right.
Only, like, I used to believe, like you're believing right now. It changed my whole, because the ones that were over there that I ran into, they had no interest in here, to
Right.
this place. Like, they already knew everybody was fine. They already knew when you die you're going over there, right? There was no reason for them to change the radio song or anything. In fact, they were so busy over there that they didn't care about here. So then there was these other entities that would like to attach theirself to families and for generations, and cause arguments and problems and this and that, and they have to have permission in order to be in your life. You could throw them out. It's like a legal thing, okay? So if they act like, because they've been around a long time and following your family, they know what pushes the buttons. They know it's the butterfly or the smell of the cigar or the feeling, and then they get what it is they use that, and then the person's like, oh, my grandfather just came, in and visited me. Now they have permission to keep coming back and coming back and coming back.
So you believe that these signs are not actually from people from the other side? You believe they're from entities?
Yes. In fact, I know it is. But
So-
only how do I prove it? That's the thing, see.
So these entities are bringing peace and joy to these families, but
They're not really bringing peace and joy. Look at the rest of the picture, okay? Like if you zero in when that moment happens, it's peace and joy. But tomorrow, their life's falling apart. They got cancer. Their child got run over by a car. I mean, like, they're divorcing. Okay, all these bad things. That's that entity too. In their life.
Okay.
You see what I mean? Like, but only now the person and what they call them is there's a name for them, familiar spirit. They're because they attach themselves to a family, so they were around when you were born, and your mom and your grandma and your grandma's grandma and on and on and on for hundreds of years. They could attach themselves, and they might skip a few generations or something. But ones that they can manipulate into thinking like what you're thinking, then they can use that to be digging in more.
Well, I would have to respectfully disagree with you.
I know, that's fine. Only, see, I can't prove it. All I know is I died. I went over there. I experienced some things and got told some things and showed some things. And then when I came back to here, it made sense. And then I wrestled with some of these entities and fought with them, and then I realized they're real.
Right.
And in fact, even the Bigfoot thing that I saw, like me and Jeff were talking earlier, we started off thinking it was a flesh and blood thing that you could shoot and bring in and, look, here it is, Only now it's starting to have woo-woo. A lot of woo-woo. So now it's like, okay, we're not sure if we could shoot it or
Did you
not.
open up a portal? Is it a vortex? Is there something there that's creating this entity from coming through? I don't know. I don't know.
That's just it. I mean,
But I'm not gonna. I don't want to argue. With it.
No,
I just wanted to
we're not.
say,
We're having a dialogue about it
Yeah.
because I have also met people who have had death experiences who don't agree with what you're saying. They've actually had validation.
Right.
that-
How
that
far
they're-
did they go when they died?
Well, they're dead. I don't know how far you need to go when you're dead.
I don't either. All I know is like all the people I met. I mean, and I met people I know, and they were.
okay,
they
got to
were
take a quick
totally
break.
not
We'll be right back.
interested,
Okay.
They didn't care about us. I mean, they do. Like they were waiting for us.
I
to
just
be
just
there.
let
But
you
not
know.
the material
I just
things.
poured myself a shot of.
Oh,
tequila, so
nice.
you guys
Let's
want
do
one?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Only I love this. I love the paranormal and stuff. So that's why I'm sitting here.
No, this is not gonna get put on TV, by the way.
Okay. Good.
And I
Thank you.
actually like. I want to know. Like I'm still. I even could. You could win. You could change my mind. You know what I mean? If you brought some experience, if I experienced some things that what you're saying might be true,
Here you go, honey.
I would be like all over changing my mind because I want to be right.
Okay, we're not live, right?
Salud. It doesn't
You
matter.
know?
Salud.
It doesn't matter.
It
We're
doesn't
worldwide
matter.
all over
Okay.
we're worldwide, really, but have fun. It's the good
All right.
stuff.
I'm Mexican, so that's
Ditto.
it's my
And I have a cough, so I have to take it. Doctor's orders. All
have
right. Now,
That was
allergies.
the best
Okay.
excuse I ever heard yet.
okay, we just had a. Okay, we're back. By the way, we just had a question from Adolf. Hello, Jeff and Ellen. Ask the ex-officer if the other officer was a Native American. I'm thinking about Easton, maybe. He may be a relative officer from Kerman officer with the burn marks on him.
That's our.
Oh,
that's,
okay.
The one we
the one
just
that-
mentioned. Wasn't it?
No, I think you're talking about Manny Apparon.
Yeah, Manny.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I don't think.
is he wanting to know about the
Man
experience
got burned,
up
that's
in
what he's asking.
Right. No, this is not even close to what we're talking about. So I'm
Okay.
saying no. Okay, cool. All right. So any stories like that back in the days, as far as ghosts or anything you have seen? Excuse me. Okay, now let's. Okay, if there's no more ghost stories. I actually get calls from people in Fresno PD. I have some people who follow me. I have a lot of people who follow me in Fresno PD, and I have some people who actually call me early wee hours of the night,
You won't believe they follow him,
and
taking pictures.
and they tell me and they
Just
call
kidding.
me, and without Chief Dyer knowing.
Ooh.
And
out.
and they call me and say, "Hey Jeff, there's some crazy lights happening this part of town, or over here, and which is kind of cool." And sometimes I get double calls from Fresno PD officers who are on the late shift, which is kind of cool. Have you guys ever seen anything UFOs wise?
Did you just get a call about 2 weeks ago?
No.
Okay, because we were outside
Uh-huh.
and we saw something in the sky over Fresno, and I could not get my phone fast enough. It was there and then it was gone, and so I was just wondering if maybe somebody had called
No,
you
I
for
didn't-
that one.
no.
Yeah, I didn't have any tangible evidence to give you, so I didn't call you. But have I seen anything?
On duty? Like
On
you did-
duty?
I mean, you guys probably worked night shift and day shift. I'm assuming back in the days. I mean, when you start off, do you work night shift first and then come off the night shift and go to day shift,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
when
that's the way
you're a
it usually
rookie,
works,
when you're a
rookie,
rookie, you're
That's the way it
you're
goes.
thrown on the night shift.
Right.
Yeah, pretty
So back in the days, in the 80s, did you guys see anything?
cool. Did you see anything?
Nothing that I could definitely say that that was a UFO. I mean, there were certainly times that I saw stuff, but I'm like 3 or 4 in the morning. I mean, and not like I'm seeing a person this time, but I've seen stuff, and then I'm thinking, well, maybe it's because I'm tired. Because when I worked on the west side, there's not quite so much light pollution. There's not so much light interference, so there's a lot more opportunity to see
Sure, and
things.
stars are pretty up there.
And I usually thought that they were crop dusters, but sometimes
Man,
there was
how many
nobody.
times
There was
have
nobody
we
dusting the
heard
field.
that?
Okay, now
How many times have you heard that?
I have
one,
gotten
you know?
calls
Yeah.
at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning off of 5 freeway, as a matter of fact, and they say, hey, you know, this thing just
Crop
came over the
dusters.
freaking freeway with 4 lights on it and just like that, and they say that wasn't a crop duster.
Do
You know?
crop dusters even fly at night?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
They
they
do?
do.
Yes, they do.
Uh-huh.
Like really early in
Yes.
the morning, where it's like 4 in the morning, where it's still really dark.
Because
But
you think it would be. I mean, they get like going the power lines. They go right under them, and so you think it would be kind of dangerous for those guys.
Well,
to be
those
at
guys
night,
are
you know?
badasses, man. I mean, those guys know their stuff.
That's true, you know, and they drink a lot of tequila.
Yeah, haven't you watched Independence Day? I mean, he was
yeah,
like the
that's what I was
greatest
just
crop
talking
duster.
about. That's what I'm saying. They killed the
oh my
aliens.
God. I wanted to say something right now. Okay, well, let's talk since Manny came into play, Manuel Amparano. For those who don't know about Manny, Manuel Amparano was a police officer in this. I think it was in the 70s when this happened to him.
Yeah.
It was in the 70s when it happened to him.
In
Yes.
Kermit, California. He was a police officer that was on the night shift, that got dispatched out to a possible fire out in the boonies, west side, countryside, and he arrived. It was a bright light about 100 yards away. He said 150 yards maybe, and he could see it rising, and before he hit it with the spotlight, the thing shot him. He was sitting in the vehicle and sitting. I've had Manuel Amparano on the show
Yeah.
a couple times. Okay, he's actually been a pilot, and so we know him really well.
We did chasing UFOs. With
Yeah, chasing UFOs. He was,
with
he was
Nat
on
Geo.
National Geographic. Yeah, and the UFO, because unidentified flying object, hit him with a light through the windshield, and hit him from the waist up, and burned him. And this made world news. I mean, this back in the days. I was only in elementary school.
Do you
so
guys know him?
I know Manny. Yes.
I
Do
don't.
you know
I
his
work with
kids and stuff? Man, like his kid is like a rocket scientist.
Well, that we think that's because of
Because of the
what
alien
happened
thing.
to him.
His
But-
grandson, when we were shooting the chasing UFOs, his grandson was out there. He's like 9, right?
pretty young.
And we're out there talking quantum physics, and he was staying on topic. We lost everybody out there, right? And me and him are into this big conversation. Then you look over and everybody's like, what are these guys talking about? That kid has some kind of alien something.
So do you think there was kind of a purpose behind that whole encounter?
I'm starting to think maybe, but only why would it though? Why?
I
Is it
think
to
it
change
wasn't a
DNAs?
purpose.
Mhm.
I think he was just sent out there just because he was dispatched on the call. But it reminded me of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when Dreyfus was at the railroad crossing and he was looking at the map, and all of a sudden he looked out the window and the UFO
So it's kind of residual effects.
and it did something to his DNA, or it implanted something in his memory.
But what if that they do that like randomly and it changes people's DNA,
Sure.
and then through people getting married and stuff like that slowly changes everybody's DNA and enlightens.
Well, let me
or
tell you
smartens up
something. The
people or
reason
whatever,
why
you know,
he brought that
from
up
caveman
is
to
we had a call in Orosi where a night janitor was 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, cleaning the classrooms, and she witnessed this flying saucer hover over the school. And
Oh, man, that was a good one,
That was a
too.
good one.
Yeah.
And it happened many, many times to her out there, where she would go out there, she would see this thing, and all of a sudden, it's like, whoa, what a trip, it's gone, and then go back to work.
and then she was saying that there was windows and they were looking at her and she was looking at them
Wow.
And then
in the ship.
and she called me on my 24-hour hotline when it happened. I don't know, the third or fourth time, and Alan and myself went out there. She said the day after, there were helicopters over the school doing patterns.
Wow.
As you know, they knew what happened. I'm going to tell you something. This is my 24-hour hotline I've had for 14 years. The government knows that I have this, and they are listening to my conversations. And I'm going to tell you why. Where it first hit me was my sister in Sanger, who still lives in Sanger, called me one day when I first started. And she says, "Hey Jeff, there's this triangle flying over our house, going over Walmart, heading towards you right now." And I said, "Really?" So I run out of I turn off the phone, I run out of the house to go see if I can see it. And she calls me again. She goes, "Jeff, it just changed direction. It's going." We get cut off, right? And I'm looking at my phone, and I have all my bars on it. So I really quick call her back. And I said, "What happened, Veronica?" She said, "I don't know. We got cut off." I go, "Okay, well, which way is it going?" "It's going." We got cut off again. And it happened 3 times in a row. Okay, I get calls from people. We get a lot of calls, Dinuba, Reedley, Orange Cove, Orosi, out way in that area, all the time. Reedley.
Yeah, Reedley.
And,
wow. Yeah.
And somebody will call me on this thing, and I will go outside to see if I can hear or see anything, and all of a sudden, right over that, because the airport is right over there,
Right.
right over my house. The 2 helicopters will come up out of the airport, heading right towards the city that the call's coming from. And it happens every single time.
So what kind of helicopters are they? Are they like military helicopters?
No, they're not
or-
military. They're not military. They've got to be NSA or FBI, probably. I don't think Fresno PD. I've heard that the sheriff's bird gets dispatched on a lot of these things. Somebody told me. What proof I have, I don't. I had a call. This was when I was filming out of the home. Friends who followed us on Facebook wanted to go to Reedley Beach to see if it was open so they can go on the following Saturday to go interviewing. So he goes down there, and he's going down at Manning and Lackjack. And all of a sudden he says there were CHP, sheriffs, and Reedley PD with their lights on, just like, what the hell's going on? And they blocked off Lackjack at Manning. And that's the road he needed to take to go to his home or whatever. So he pulls over and he says to the CHP officer, "So, okay, we gotta take a break. I'm gonna hold you right there. We'll be right back." This is really cool.
Okay.
This is really cool.
You know, I
Yeah,
I could give you some validation on man.
Oh no, he's the real deal.
He was a great cop.
Oh, he's the real deal.
He was a great
Oh,
cop.
absolutely, he's the real deal, dude.
he got passed over because of his experiences. He got passed over a bunch of times, and he should have been moving up, the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've known him ever since I was a little kid because, ride along program. I would be riding with my relatives, and that you were their backup, just like Sanger, like Big Jack.
No, I'm good.
You good?
And then I went to school
All
with
Since we're here.
Fine,
with
it's
Jay
fine.
Lamb, and he took me flying in the helicopter, the police helicopter here a few years ago. That was so fun, man. I mean, it's good to have a lot of friends in law enforcement. I think I like them.
This is helping. This is
Family,
helping my cough, by the
yeah.
way.
Salud.
Doctor's orders.
The only bad thing was when I would get in trouble and the law was involved, my dad knew before I got home. That was the only bad thing about it. I mean, I wouldn't get in trouble from them.
All right.
But when I got home, my dad would beat the tar out of me,
Okay.
and lock me up in the jail for a day.
All right, we are back. Let me finish the story. So he called me and he says, "Jeff." Okay, well, he hasn't called me yet, but I'm telling you what happened before he called me. He said he pulled over to the CHP who was blocking Lackjack, and he says there was something hovering over the grapevine south of Manning on Lackjack, and they could see it. It was just hovering. And he asked the CHP, "Can I go that way?" And he goes, "No, you can't go that way." So what he did is he went to the Jack in the Box across from Reedley's College, and he parked there, and a Reedley PD followed him and parked like looking right at him, and he called me on the phone. And he was telling me what was happening. He said, "Jeff, Reedley PD just pulled in the parking lot and they're looking right at us." I said, "Well, go out there. Well, put the phone on speakerphone, and walk over there and tell him what are they following." I mean, because at that point in time, he's already told me what he saw and what was going on. So he goes, "Okay." So he gets out of. I heard the door slam, and he gets out of the car and he's walking, and he's talking to the police officer, and I can hear him. And he's, "Oh yeah, you don't want to go out there." And he goes, "How come?" "Well, we're following something." I go, "Okay." So he goes back in his car, and I heard him say all that, and so I go, "Okay." And I go, "There's nothing more you can do. Thank you for calling, right?" So I said, I'm gonna call Reedley Dispatch.
Great.
So I called Reedley Dispatch, and I said, "Hi, my name is Jeff. I was on Lackjack, on Manning and Lackjack, and I saw your police officers chasing something out there. What were you guys chasing?" And it was a female. She goes, "Just a minute, please." And I can hear him in the background. And she goes, "Can I help you?" I go, and I told her, I was on Blackjack. I needed to turn on Blackjack. You guys were blocking the street. What were you guys following over there? "I'm sorry, sir, but we weren't following anything. I saw you guys. There's something floating on the top of the grapevine." "Just a minute, please." And all of a sudden, you're pass me over to a sergeant. And the sergeant goes, "Hi, this is Sergeant," I forgot his name. "And can I help you?" And I said, "Hi, I was, I needed to go down Lackjack. I know you guys were blocking something." She goes, No, we're assisting another city. Got somebody coming in down Lackjack, and we're trying to find him." I'm going, "Well, I don't think so, because there's something floating on top of the." He goes, No. He goes, "That's not." He goes, and then he actually goofed up his wording, and he says, "Well, we're chasing something." He goes, I mean, and you can tell that he screwed up. But they were chasing a freaking UFO. All of sheriffs, CHP, and Reedley PD were involved in chasing this thing around Reedley Beach and Lackjack.
So when was this? Like, what year was it?
This was 2000.
It was like 2013 or 14.
Oh,
No.
we were both not working anymore.
10.
10?
Yeah, it was.
Because I remember it was when we were over.
We were in that
bedroom.
room in the bed. Yeah, we were in the
Yeah.
bedroom in the house doing the show.
It was
when
probably
all
this
happened.
wide as
And-
the couch.
And I know I wasn't supposed to do this, but I recorded the conversation with me in the dispatch, and then I had it on an app, and the app disappeared with the recording. I went, "Son of a bitch." But I got him in a lie. He knew that I caught him, but they were chasing something out there. He just didn't want to admit it.
Right.
And it's like,
Well, I believe the reason why they don't say anything initially is because they don't want to cause panic.
right.
Because can you imagine, really, if we just think about this,
Like War of the Worlds type thing, huh?
right? If you really think about it, what would it mean if government acknowledged another life form, not of the Earth, but from another planet altogether? What would that mean for us as humanity?
Well, that goes for other paranormal, supernatural subjects that we talk about. Bigfoot.
right?
If they acknowledge the existence of Bigfoot, and Bigfoot had been killing people in the mountains for years and years, and they come out and say this has been happening, then okay, then what about flying saucers? What about aliens? What about all this other stuff?
Right. And what does that say about humanity? I mean, people would go into pandemonium, man.
Freak
There would be
out.
chaos.
Freak out.
Yeah, there would be worldwide, anarchy.
I mean, people who were brought up a certain religion,
Right.
what would that would just blow their whole perspective of what they've been taught as
Right.
grown up,
Right.
you know?
Because the mind is not open enough to realize that we still have a creator, but the creator never said that there's only
just us.
right?
Right.
No,
But
he
some
never
people
did.
just can't wrap
He
their head
never
around
did
that.
Say that it was only us.
Right.
Actually,
Right.
he says there's more. That's how I learned about familiar spirits and all that kind of stuff, by reading that.
Yeah.
I mean, it. If you want to know what's really going on in the supernatural, go find the most supernatural book in the world that's been around for 6,000 years and hasn't been changed. I don't care what nobody says, and read it. it'll tell you all kinds of stuff about giants and
What book are
behemoths
you
and-
talking about?
The big one that we used to have on the desk right here, the Bible. But I mean, a lot of people, they as soon as I mention that, they're like, "Oh, that book, man's messed with it." You know, it was like, not really. I mean, you could go back and the Dead Sea Scrolls found when the 40s, and then, but only that was written when Jesus was walking the earth, right? But it's word for word for word for word for word.
Right.
And then they have documents that has been around before that the Jews been carrying around.
The Torah.
Yeah, and that's like 5,000 years old, and it's word for word for word for word of what the Dead Sea Scrolls are, and that's word for word for what we have. I mean, so where did it get changed at? You know, that's what I want to know. I mean, there is none. And some of it is pretty true. And where I went, I actually met the ones that maybe wrote the Bible or gave the, you know, the
So that segues us into another topic, which is
Sweet.
this Akashic realm, because I do Akashic records readings.
Oh man, I'm
So the-
really interested in that.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
So the Akashic records are believed to be like a hall of records of your soul, since your soul became a soul.
Like the Book of Life.
The
or
Book of
whatever.
Life, exactly. And it is a realm that is referred to by many geniuses like Tesla and Einstein, Da Vinci. They all talked about going into kind of a trance state when they got information. They got these downloads, you know.
What was that one guy? Casey? Is that his
Edgar
name?
Casey.
Edgar Casey.
Yeah. I want to say he was more of a prophet. Was Edgar Casey? I think he was a channel.
But he would say he went and read those Akashic, or he went and...
He went into a different realm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what, I mean, you believe in the Creator.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
I was brought up Catholic.
I was too. I was baptized in the Catholic
I
Church.
was
and
baptized,
raised
communion,
Catholic.
sacraments. I did the whole thing.
I was
even-
brought up Budweiser. I didn't even know what a church was till Budweiser got me.
You know what? I've
bit
been to
me.
many different churches, a lot of the Christian churches, and I've never been to a Buddhist temple, but I'm familiar with Buddhism and Hinduism, and I really believe we're just all connected.
So, and that's where I want to go with this.
We are,
Being
I think, too.
that you were brought up Catholic, and probably your family is all Catholic as well, I'm thinking, and now you're involved in this.
What do
Do
they
they
think?
approve? What do they say? What do they think?
Well, my family's not necessarily religious,
Okay.
but my friends, who are, some of them are very conservative, they don't let it interfere in our friendship because I'm not one of those in-your-face kind of people with what I do. And I'm also of the opinion that everybody has the right to believe what they want to believe.
Sure.
That's how I believe too.
Right. So it doesn't really interfere
Because it
too
goes
much.
by your life experience, really.
Right.
Everybody
So with,
sees it different.
but I do have people who are very judgmental, and I have
how
lost
about
friends.
old school, like grandparents and tias and tios, and
I come from a family of heathens. Nobody, they're either very spiritual like I am, and it's just live and let live. And then I do have some conservative evangelical people in my family, and they don't disown me, but they don't agree with it at all.
I would love
to them
for
they
you
would
to meet my aunt. Really seriously.
okay.
I mean, she's really cool, and she's all into the same thing what you're talking about, and maybe even further out there sometimes. But only, I mean, she teaches me a lot, and now I'd love for her to meet you.
Is she very woo-woo-y?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, those are my that's
But
my
only, I mean,
tribe.
she carries her sage and everything with her, and I think she's even like,
You could have saged this day
yeah,
before we started.
we're gonna smudge me.
yeah.
I'll give you a smudge before we leave.
Yeah, if you would have saged this, Alan would have left.
Nah, no, my wife smudges.
Okay, we got to take
everything,
another
man.
break. We'll be
You
back
know.
in 10 seconds.
My wife's Cherokee, so we're smudging regular.
Oh, I bet.
You know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I get into all that. Like, I don't just read the Bible. I read everybody's Bible.
Right. Because it's very informative, right? Because it gets
Yes.
you kind of to get where they're coming from,
Well,
their
it's their
perspective.
history.
Exactly.
Okay, we are back. All right, continue on with what you guys were talking about.
What were we talking about?
Oh my
Something about
gosh.
your auntie.
Yeah.
Your auntie.
Well, I mean, we went.
she's woo wooey and she'd be my people.
Yeah, I mean, she would fit right in this conversation, and she would love it. You know, she's always telling me, like, she scolds me about things like Bigfoot. Like, oh, you guys are going up to Bigfoot again? Did you ask them how they feel about it? You know, and like, huh?
So, what do you think,
know?
Jeffrey? Are you pretty conservative Catholic?
We're digging him out.
You know, jeez. Mom and Dad, you didn't hear that. You know what? To me now, the way I feel
Oh, that was
is
good.
that if you're a good person on Earth, then it is going to help you when you go to the next step. And that I've always been afraid of the man upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been afraid. I've always been a good person since my parents taught me good.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I've always been that person growing up, even to this day.
But are you afraid you're going to get left? Is that what the fear is, or
No,
Like you're
I
not-
just,
you
I
aren't-
no,
you're
no,
gonna
I just
cut
know.
the mustard?
No, oh no, I know that.
I knew he was gonna say
I
that.
know,
No, oh.
I know I'm going
I
to
cussed
move.
the mustard.
Yeah, I know I'm going to move up to the next level, and I just, I don't know. I'm afraid that because I know there's good and evil.
Right.
I know there's good and evil. Don't tell me there's not good and evil. Without good, you have to have evil, or without the other.
The
Right,
yin and the
that's
yang, and that's
It's as-
universal.
it's as
That's
simple
not
as
just
that.
on this planet.
Okay.
it's dark and light,
Okay.
evil and good? Yeah, all that.
I have seen it. I always bring this up, and I know it's bad, but I'm gonna bring it up again. You know, I used to be bullied in high school because I was small and skinny, and I went to one of my class reunions 6 years ago, 6 years ago, and you know how when you walk into a reunion, they have a table of all the deceased, past of your graduating class, and I noticed that.
Well, you don't bring this up that much.
No?
Actually, this is a really good story.
I'm
Okay.
and actually I have a picture, but
Yeah.
4 out of the 5 people who used to bully me all passed away.
Well, that's
Would you
sad.
call that karma?
I don't know.
Kinda.
Just by knowing that just right there, that hit me hard.
Yeah.
That hit me freaking hard. Okay, and it's like, oh, I know that there's something going on.
Do you think
That
that we're
wasn't a
maybe in
coincidence.
this life to learn some lessons?
Absolutely.
So, what do you think one of your lessons might be from that whole experience?
I think I just that just put me up an extra step on the ladder, thinking that that you know, this is all for real. I think I was placed here, what I'm doing now, for a reason, because the things that have been happening to this show is incredible. We're at a place right now where we shouldn't be. You know, on TV, just the things that have been happening to us is just incredible. It's like it should not be happening to us right now.
Why shouldn't it be happening? You've put this energetic desire out there into the universe,
But
and
then
now
says it
some of the
shouldn't be
things.
happening.
But
Well,
you know what?
it shouldn't be, but he's
What-
your deeper desires are that it will.
Yeah, I mean, because I see where it's going, and,
Right.
and we're here helping people. And we are helping people. Trust me when I say that. At first, this was all a hobby and a game to me. But it has changed my life. And we're here now for a purpose. I'm here to tell people that there is more to it than what you guys are looking right now. I mean, there's way more to it than you know.
Yeah.
And I'm trying my hardest to show people the evidence of that.
Right.
Whether it's you sitting down right there telling them your stories of your, you know, when you used to work with the sheriffs, and because, you know, coming from you guys sitting right there, it happened, you know, and don't tell me this stuff is not happening around the world.
Oh yeah.
Because you guys aren't the only ones. Like Jeff was saying, we get caught like Manny on Pirano, and I mean we could go down the list. There's so many people we haven't even talked about. That, like, I have like a you know, I don't know about you guys, but you make a wall. Okay, this is reality. Okay,
Right.
Everything past that is crazy. All right? And then all of a sudden you're up against the wall. And you're facing what you think is crazy.
Yeah.
And then you have to, okay, I readjust my wall. Okay, that's not crazy anymore. And then it moves out, okay? And then you're going along and your wall is fine over there. Everything's fine. I'm good here. That's crazy there. And then all of a sudden, you hit the wall again. And you're, okay, now I've hit the wall so many times that I don't have a wall no more.
So things that were rational to you before have changed. Your thinking has evolved to expand and to maybe accept some alternative theories, realities.
Like now, it's like the people that are, you know, my family and friends and stuff are like, dude, you are out there. But only they haven't talked to everybody that I talked to. They haven't seen what I've seen.
Right.
They, you know. And that was like when me and Jeff started doing, like, he was already doing it, and then I came on board, you know, and I was just going to help him, you know, just technical. And then all of a sudden, you know, like I'm getting wrapped up in this. I saw a Bigfoot in 1987. That changed my life then, and my paradigm wall thing.
Right.
But only then, as we're getting going, and I'm going with him to all these calls of people like, I seen a pterodactyl and I seen a this and a that, and you're looking at the people in their eyes and questioning them, kind of like when you're an officer, you know, you do a little interrogation to kind of figure out where they're at and everything with their mind, and you realize they're not crazy. They saw that.
It's like, for example, 2 weeks ago, our Memorial Day Bigfoot trip, we took this guy right over here,
He's
Mr.
like,
Chris.
don't aim the camera
Okay, the
at me,
camera
man.
guy. He's
You know
actually
what?
here.
Could you do me a favor?
What's that?
Can you recap that? Because that whole thing, it was so messed up on Facebook Live. I
Okay.
did not hear half of what you said.
Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back in about 10 seconds.
Time's up. No.
And you know what? We're going to have Chris tell everybody exactly what happened. He doesn't have to be on camera. So we're going to pass the microphone to him.
Cool. That is so cool, because I like what he
Yeah,
was
because
saying.
I was like, gosh.
What do you think about
Okay, so
Bigfoot?
you were watching on Facebook.
I was watching on Facebook
Now,
Live.
why wasn't it not coming in? I don't understand.
I don't know. It kept filtering it. It kept pausing
See
it.
that doesn't make any sense to me, because there are people out there who do Facebook Live, and see, this is what I'm talking about. We're getting messed with. Facebook Live should not be buffering to people all
There
around.
you go,
trying to
buffering. That's the word I was
Yeah,
looking
they
for.
that should not be happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Alex Jones could be doing his crap, and everybody else could be doing their 1.2K viewers, and then all of a sudden we have, 300, 400, 500. All of a sudden it's buffering. That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, and I even typed on there in the comments a
Really?
few times, like I can't watch this. This is not, it's not
You
coming
have, to,
through.
you have to come back later and watch it after
Yeah,
you finish
yeah,
it.
after it was done.
Talking
Right.
funny and doing stuff like that. We'd have to take them up to the G ward. So
And when I did go back to look at it, there were parts of it
that was
missing.
something else. included.
There were laps in seconds.
Really?
That makes
Yes.
sense, 'cause you're talking
Yes.
about people
Wow.
controlling and doing stuff like that. 'Cause I had
that's not
experiences
normal
with
right
people
there.
Like that were just
Yep.
really out there.
Stop it, you guys.
That happened to me in Africa. I was in Africa, and
Got it?
I was with 7 preachers, and I was doing what this guy does. Okay, that was I had a business doing that. And the last day there, this lady, they do this big preaching thing, and then they bring this little boy in, and he's a little boy, and she has him on her lap. And I'm with 7 Pentecostal preachers. Now, I don't go to church. Okay, I don't go to church.
Aliens blocking the reception.
I don't know what church is, I maybe went in a church 3 times in my whole life.
Are we good?
At that point, when we got there, this little guy. Oh,
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Okay, we are back.
Well,
and
he was talking about some really good stuff.
okay, we'll come back to that. Let's talk
Okay.
about, since we've got Chris here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Chris. We're going to put you on the spot, buddy, and don't say no, or you're fired. Okay, Memorial Day trip 2 weeks ago. Okay, we went. It was David Ragosa, Danny Valdrama, David's nephew, grandson, Ellen, myself, and Hillary and her boyfriend, and we took Chris, our main camera guy right here, and editing guy. This guy is the man right here. He went with us. Now, Chris is a science guy. I think he believes in, I don't want to say aliens, but I think he understands that there's no way in the world we could be alone in the universe. There's just no way. But when it comes to Bigfoot, I think he said, cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Only, you know what? Now, first, a little bit of background. I've only known him a little while,
Right.
but he's like one of the brightest
Yes, he is.
people that I know.
Dude,
okay?
you are a smart MFer.
Yes, you are.
Okay? You are. And I
this dude's
compliment you on that.
He's probably got a really high intelligence. And I
IQ.
love talking to him because of it.
Yeah, very high IQ, I can tell you that
Yeah,
right
yeah.
off the bat on this guy. So, we went on this trip. We brought him and as the camera guy to document the whole trip.
And then being the science guy, he's trying to like rationalize everything. Like, no, it's this. I mean, he had a million things that it could
So
be.
you're the
but,
cynic.
you know.
No, cynic implies that your position is already cemented.
Give him a mic.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
so we
So
wanna
you're
hear
not.
him
You're
say
just
that.
more of a research guy.
I would say that I am the definition of what a skeptic should be.
Okay, a skeptic.
on.
A skeptic.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
true.
Okay.
I think so too. That
So-
is.
Okay.
We're going to skip Friday night, and we're going to go straight to Saturday night, where
Okay.
it all happened. So,
I'm gonna give him the mic.
absolutely. That's right, buddy. You can be on it. You don't have to be on camera. You're okay. So finally, we got Chris. Chris was supposed to be here last week, but something happened. To his, he had some car problems, unfortunately. But now, since he's here,
I like the one he said today. You got to tell everybody real quick.
So-
When the cop pulled you over, what was he
oh
say?
my God,
A black guy in a Porsche. It was like
he
man,
got
I
pulled
busted
over on his
up,
way this
dude.
morning here. He drives though. How what's the year on the Porsche?
It's like an 85.
Put the microphone. To your
Well, it's
mouth.
like an 85 Porsche.
Okay, and cop pulled you over, and you told a black man driving a Porsche.
Yeah.
Oh come on! This is California.
No, it's true. It's true.
You would be surprised. You would be surprised.
But
Yeah.
he pissed off the police officer because he was being intelligent,
Yeah.
and he pissed him off. Why did he pull you
love
over?
that.
We're not supposed to talk about that stuff on camera. This is only going to make things worse for me. You have PD who listen to your show.
No one
He's
knows.
going to go, hey, man, hold on.
No one knows who
That
you
was
are.
me.
You're behind the
No one knows who you
Yeah.
are. Not unless you want to come over here right now and just say hi. But
Start
okay.
talking
but,
Anyways,
deeper.
okay. So this is Saturday morning
Talk
at
like
about.
you're on a voice box.
Okay, Saturday morning.
Hello, I like to speak and spell.
You know?
Saturday morning comes around. It's 10 o'clock, and we are all dozing off at the fire. We're like so freaking sleepy because we were like shooting all day and hiking and all that. So at about 10:30, we all decided to turn in. We had 3 tents. Hillary and her boyfriend had gone home, so we had 3 tents. Alan, Chris, and myself are in 1 tent. Danny Valderrama is by himself in a 3-man tent, and David Regosa and his grandson are in another tent. So the fire is we didn't put any more wood in the fire, so I'm thinking probably at about 12:30, 1 o'clock, the fire is probably almost out. 4 o'clock comes around, I'm dead, I'm out. I'm on a cot, Alan's on a cot, he's on an air mattress in the middle, and Chris,
I think he was straight on the
you
ground.
are,
but-
no, you're on, and just take it from there. You,
Oh, yeah, man mode's straight on the ground, yeah.
Something woke you. Go from there. What did you hear?
So earlier, I don't know. It's really weird. When Alan and I had went to bed the first night, because you kind of have to start
Okay,
there.
go for it.
So, well, let's just start with the first night.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
these guys go out into the forest. They're hooting and hollering and calling, and what could be coyotes. I mean, there's so many things that could be calling back to these dudes. You know, you're making a lot of noise, and it's the middle of the night. There could be other campers. Who knows? So we stayed up pretty late the first night. And when Alan and I went to bed, we had
was
made
like
this
3 in the
observation.
morning when
It was
we-
like 3 a.m. Yeah. And Alan and I were just chopping it up pretty much all night.
Oh God, were they?
So when we went to bed, you know, I don't camp. I'm not a camper. You know.
Why is that?
I'm a city kid, man. I'm a city kid. No, I did CDF, and after that, the forest. I'm done with the forest. No more. So you know, people live inside for a reason. You know. So
Yeah.
I had asked. I was like, "What the hell is that? Like, what is that noise?" Can I say that on here? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, what is that noise?"
So this
you know,
is Friday
this
morning.
Is Friday. Yeah. At 3 a.m.
Okay.
So it sounded like stuff falling from the tree, you know. And Alan's a camper guy, so I took his opinion of it, and he was like, "Yeah, it's probably stuff falling out the tree," you know. So
you heard. Like,
hold on, buddy. You're ahead of the game.
Yeah, I am.
So
I don't want him to get the good part.
second day, we go to bed pretty early, and like most people who shoot a television show, you're trying to make sure you have the coverage and everything together. I mean, when I say it's like we shoot on a schedule that most television productions that I have worked on couldn't even dream of matching.
Right.
Yeah. And even right now, you know, 3 cameras. This edit will be done tomorrow because this has to be turned in yesterday. Like, you know, so everything is done really, really fast, really, really efficiently. The other thing that we do is I almost always shoot up 100% of the space on the cards, and I shoot up 100% of the batteries because you never know when you're going to need footage, when you need coverage, and things like that. And that's come back to bite us a couple times. I had a.
No, that's just me.
Oh, like, what is he doing? Yeah, so I had shut up basically all the battery on the cameras, and what I was going to do was get up in the morning at 9 a.m. You know, pack because my stuff had already been packed. Hop in the car and go home. Like that was the goal, you know. So we turned in early that night. You know, thinking, okay, well, we'll get up and maybe if there's anything left, maybe we'll shoot something in the morning, you know. But I was content with what I already had as far as them telling the stories, hooting, hollering, that stuff. You know, that's part of the experience of going out there. And for me, it was really about the experience of being out there, not necessarily finding things. I mean, you watch these shows all the time, and, you know, finding Bigfoots, how many seasons? And I haven't seen a Bigfoot, not a single time. So, basically, the second night, you know, same sounds and such at about, we'll say 9:30, 10 o'clock. You can hear things falling onto the tent from the tree, and I looked up and you could see like the fire from where my position was in the tent. And I'm laying direct. The second night, actually, I made the mistake of laying on an air mattress. Yeah, so I'm laying on the ground, and Hillary had left her air mattress the second day, so I was a pansy the second day. I was like, oh yeah, this looks like it might be comfortable, which was super uncomfortable, you know. So basically, around 4 a.m., I'm a very, very light sleeper. I began to hear what I thought was like a chickenish sound, and so I'm listening for it. And Alan, what people don't know is that Alan snores. He is a he's a lumberjack. He is sawing something while he is sleeping. It's pretty bad. And Danny is just as bad. So bad that the first night he actually slept in his car. You know, as some sort of barrier. The second night it was pretty bad. So I'm hearing this noise, and I'm thinking, which one of these guys is snoring like a Furby, man? You know, and
Yeah.
I kid you not. You know, as they're snoring, you're hearing this like noise, and I'm like, dude, I was like, that sounds dead on like a Furby.
Okay, I'm asleep.
So
I'm asleep. I'm out right now.
yeah, so
Rounding out the Furby.
well, first I thought it was Alan, right? Because you know, kind of sounded like it was close. So I listened, and Alan's snoring, and it's not happening. And I hear it while Alan's snoring. I'm like, oh, so it's Danny. So me being the guy that I am, I decided I was going to pull the camera out and record this and put this on the show. Like, this is all these guys do out here, you know? So I pulled the camera out, and I immediately begin, you know, the batteries are all dead. I just, you know, I told you I shot everything up. So I start looking for a battery with just red life, because every now and then I'll switch them out when they're just really, really low. So I'm looking for one with just enough life so I can, you know, get my little 45-second joke in, you know, and put that at the end of the show. So I start doing that. Now, I'm trying to be very, very silent. You know, I mean, I'm on this air mattress, and if anybody's ever slept on a vinyl air mattress, you know it makes the most amount of noise in the world. Well, while I'm hearing a noise again, Danny starts snoring again. So I'm not an outdoor dude, you know. I'm thinking, okay, so what the hell is that? You know, but this time when I heard it, it was behind Alan, right? If you imagine a square, Danny is sleeping at the top of the square, and then on either side, Jeffrey, myself, and Alan are on one side, and then David and his grandson on the other side. So basically, I heard it between myself and Danny, and that wasn't right because when originally I was hearing it, it sounded like it could have been kind of far off, maybe down the hillish, or somewhere out there. It just sounded distant, So now I'm like, oh, there's like a bear or something walking into the camp, or some sort of whatever the hell it is, And in my mind, I'm thinking, that's not. Do bears make that noise? So I stopped reaching for the camera and I started reaching for my gun because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to like fire a shot off in the air or something, scare this thing off, right?
Well, all of us had guns
So-
too. Everybody was armed,
Yeah.
and they say Bigfoot's
hold on, we
don't
gotta cut
come
really quick.
around.
Oh. Okay, so we got to take a break. Oh, we got to reset the cameras real quick.
Oh, I need to use the restroom so bad.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Go for it. So everybody out there, take a bathroom break, and we're going to come back, and Chris is going to continue with the story, and from the horse's mouth, because there it is, right here.
Well, like it's
Show
it
everybody. Come on, and say hi to everybody. Get over here. Get over here. Get over here. Get over here. Come on, just get over here, dude.
Officers and oh my god,
You suck. You suck.
Officers, they hate me. They
Oh,
we
see,
have a
like
love-hate
the-
relationship.
the morning before at the very same time.
Don't talk about anything. Let's wait till they get on the air and finish everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I was in Africa, and they brought this little baby.
We'll be right back. Stand by. Stand by.
They broke, so now they have this guy guarding me now, and he's sitting right where you are, and there's a corner of a wall, and then they each take a turn, and I watch the little kid, and he's just like, he's not looking at him, he's not reacting, he's not doing anything, he's just like, and I think, and then the head preacher that put the guard on me says, so you want to crack at this one? And I look at him, I'm like, why not? I don't know what to do. So I walk over there, and I think, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to do what they just did. I'm going to mimic them, and go over there. I don't have oil like they do, but I'm just going to put my hand on and command in the name of Jesus for this demon to get out of the kid. That's what I'm going to do. I mean, I made it, I'm thinking, okay, that sounds good, to me, that I'm going to do that. And then I get over there, and the first thing, when I look at him, I realize the kid is looking at me. He didn't look at anybody, but he's looking at me, and I'm like, look over at those guys, and they're all smiling and think it's all funny, because they know I don't know what I'm doing. So I go to put my hand on him, and he growled. And and he tried to bite me, and I was like, whoa, and I jumped back, and then I looked at those guys, and now they're like,
You guys want anything to drink? You guys want another shot of tequila, mister?
Do you want another shot? I'm okay.
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just as a reminder, apparently we're still on Facebook Live the entire time.
Yeah.
Even when we're taking a little break.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Why?
I just wasn't. Your wife told me when.
yeah.
Oh, that's all right. That's
Yeah,
right.
'cause they
No,
told me
yeah, I mean, you guys aren't saying anything.
Facebook.
Okay, we are. Oh, did you reset the cameras? We're good. What?
It's okay. She didn't use the F word.
I didn't.
Oh, that's you're okay. Everything goes. We're on the internet and Facebook Live. Everything goes. And if it's something bad on TV, he can bleep it out.
We
or
can
doesn't
edit it
matter.
out
Yeah.
later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, long story short, I had to trick the kid to grab him. I act like I'm going to get him with this hand, and
Wow.
he grabbed from my hand, and then I grabbed his forehead, right?
Okay.
And next thing you know, we're rolling on the floor and knocking chairs over and everything. He's trying to kill me.
Are we good?
There's demons.
Okay, we're gonna hear about Bigfoot.
Yeah. Okay, we are back, and Mr. Chris is adjusting one of the cameras, and we're going to continue with the story. Go.
Okay, so
Somebody said I have some cough syrup.
I've got the cough syrup right here.
I mean the chat. They're like, like
yeah, so
cough.
All right, go for it.
So basically, at this point, I'm thinking there's a large animal of some sort, or just an animal of some sort coming into the camp. It could be a bear, could be a coyote, could be anything. Could have been a cow. I mean, there were cows out there, which is very strange. You don't expect to see a cow in the freaking forest, you know?
6,000, 7,000 feet.
Yeah, 7,000 feet up. Yeah. So
Free range.
I begin looking for my weapon to scare this thing off, and I don't leave my ammunition in the gun. I'm very, very cautious with that. And I don't even leave the gun in a position to where you can actually fire the gun ever. You have to load and cock, all that. So, and I have a Glock, and actually, so with a Glock, actually, if you load it, you're ready to go. So my goal was to open the tent, stick my hand out, fire, and go, right? Or at least look to see what's going on. And then I heard the noise again from in between our tent and David's tent, right? Actually, well, hold on. So the noise for a second as it was stopping, as I'm going and as I'm reaching for my firearm and such, I'm hearing. I heard it step onto the tarp underneath Danny's tent, because these guys, I mean, they very sloppily put these tents up. There's a tarp underneath them that sticks out on all four sides, basically, and I can hear it step onto this tarp. And when it stepped down onto the tarp, you can tell it had some weight to it. So at that point, I'm like, okay, that's a bear of some sort, because it wasn't like if a chicken had jumped onto it or something like that, it'd been like a little light, but it was like a solid step onto the tarp, And then we heard the noise. It was the third time at this point, it's either third or fourth time at this point. And I was just like, wow. So Jeff and these guys sleep with their blankets over their face, obviously for bug reasons. So I threw a shirt at Jeff's head, and I began why
did you throw the shirt at me?
Because you were knocked out. You were knocked out.
So
solid.
You wanted to wake me up.
So I was trying to wake you up. Yeah. I mean, that's my job. So
And
I
that's what
throw
he
the
wants.
shirt. Yeah, I throw the shirt at this guy,
And he misses me.
and he rolls his face to the outside of the tent. Remember, this is important to the story.
Ooh.
So he rolls his face and body over to the outside of the tent.
I'm
Continued sleeping, right?
No.
And I mean, when I say he was like right on the tent, he was literally like right on top of the tent. So I'm still trying to cycle through batteries. And if you've ever seen the camera rigs that we put together, it's a shoulder rig. But the shoulder rig, the base plate, the slider, requires you to take that off to put batteries in. So I have everything sitting there, and I'm cycling through looking for batteries. Finally, I find a battery with quite a bit, a little bit of juice. So then at that point, I begin putting it back together. Well, at this time, I hear it step onto the tarp at David's tent, right? And the noise is between us and David. Now, I hear David's sleeping bag unzip, and in the future, I would learn that David at this point was already awake. He had heard it when it stepped onto the other tarp. And this time it stepped onto the tarp, it didn't do it the same way. It sounded like it was trying to distribute its weight more evenly, And so David is at this point awake and alert, and
pulling his gun.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, he said he had pulled his gun at this point. He was just waiting. So when David's sleeping bag unzips, Jeff just kind of popped up, And I'm looking outside, like as I'm turning around, I'm preparing to unzip the zipper, double checking what lens I have on and things like that. I mean, it's a camera, it's a very technical piece of equipment. It's not just point and shoot. I mean, it's a video camera. So I'm trying to make sure I'm set to even see anything, because it's black, like black. There's almost no light. I mean, the fire had burned down to the point where it was just like a very, very light orange glow, and even through the camera you couldn't see that. So to the human eye, it appeared as if it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on the inside of the tent. However, as soon as you unzip the tent, you realize that that's just starlight, and yeah, it was black. So David at this point had his gun. He's laying there with his gun cocked, ready to fire into whatever opens his tent. I'm there with the camera trying to, figure out what the hell I'm going to do. Because I'm like, okay, if you put your face out or your head out and it's God knows what, you got your face or your head out there, you're going to be hurt, And I mean, thankfully, I kind of, you know, some sort of instinct, you know, for self-preservation was there, because I had, you know, talked to some experts about this later, and they gave me some more information that I probably should have had at first. So yeah, so Jeff is like, I'm watching him like listen to like the side of the tent, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing? You know, he's just up being freaking weird. And then David's like, Jeff, is that you? And we're like, nope. And then we immediately hear David cock his gun and unzip the tent, right? So David, when he unzips his tent, I hear his tent start to unzip. Jeff like springs up like he's the freaking Flash. You know, I've never seen a grown man get out of bed that fast before. And he unzips the tent. He's going to run out there, you know. And I look at my battery and it's like battery low. I'm like, oh my god, you know. At this point, Alan and Danny and everybody's awake, and I'm looking outside and it looks like a scene from that movie Super 8, where everybody's just outside with their flashlights. You just see like the beams everywhere. And
but now
it was.
But when you saw me get up real quick.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. Because what you? Yeah.
I said. What did I say? I go.
He said something brushed across and hit him in the face.
Something hit me in the face.
Oh wow.
So.
Yeah. I got hit. I got smacked.
Yeah.
Why?
So Bigfoot smacked you?
Bigfoot smacked me.
Yeah. So
that's what woke me up. He yelled,
Yeah.
something hit me like that, and he rolled out of the bed.
And then the reason why is because my mouth was against the tent side of the tent, and I was breathing hard. I had left a pan of beans 3 feet from where I was sleeping on the outside on the stump. After it hit me and I woke up, I go, what the hell? Then I heard. So it was whatever it was tasting the beans.
Right.
And I said, son of a bitch, that's a bear. And I'm going, wait a minute, the bear just slapped me in the side of the head. That's when I pushed myself off the cot and I fell on the ground. This guy is trying to put the camera together and I'm trying to find a flashlight, and that's when we.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, I talked to some experts afterwards. I know a lot of people who do a lot of very, very odd jobs, and one of those jobs is a game warden and a forest ranger. So they're up there, and they literally worked in that forest. Like, one of them is contracted by the state of California as we speak, working for them, and is very, very familiar with the area that we were in. Very, very familiar with the area we were in. And as I'm describing to her what's going on, she was pretty much articulating back to me that she was like, well, she's like, you're probably lucky she didn't go out, you know. And she said, because let's say you hit alarmed whatever you were hoping to find, you know. And she was like, well, if it's like primate or something of that nature, it's chattering. It's chattering to communicate. It's not chattering to make noise.
So she actually. She's bringing up that it could a primate.
Well, because here's the thing, you know, she like I said, she works out in that forest.
Okay.
And she's one of the people who believe that there could be something out there. Now she's taking everything with a grain of salt. You know, she's taking your story at face value.
She didn't say no with the bear. You know? She didn't say that.
Oh no. Yeah, I've heard a million stories of why people say that, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, so she was saying that if there is a primate out there and you heard chattering, because she said what it sounds like is some sort of chatter, she was saying that it's communicating, and it's not trying to communicate with us.
Right.
You know,
it's the other one.
It's the other ones that were there. So I think that there had to be at least 3 there if there was something there. Now again, I didn't see anything with my naked eye. At most, I realized that I probably saw the shadow of the one that was standing right where Jeff was. And that's for the fact that it was, the tents are not vertical. There's a slight slope to them. So you're not going to understand most of the time how close you could actually stand to this slope or against this slope without putting any weight on the slope or, you know, coming in contact with the slope, which is, I guess, what woke Jeff up.
Plus, like, the night before when we went to bed at 3 in the morning, there was a female and a male.
Yeah, it sounded like 2 people talking.
Yeah, and
earlier that
close
day.
to the tent and then going away, and then getting close to the tent and going away.
I feel
like the English lady.
And me and him were talking.
No. It was just chattering. It was inaudible.
Yeah,
like you couldn't tell what it was talking about, but it did sound like a male and a female talking. Now the irony about this is our co-host and her boyfriend had walked off at one point to go try to find cell service, and had come back, and they're male and female, and the area that they had walked to was where the chattering was coming from, you know. And but they were already fast asleep at this time.
Yeah,
and then
they
the
already
second
went
night,
back to their tent.
yeah. So now here's the second thing. The tent that where all the chattering happened was a tent that she was sleeping in the night before. So that was kind of that was very, you know, that was kind of alarming, kind of odd, you know. It didn't quite make sense. And in the context of things, let's say it was looking for that person, you know,
The only female.
you know, that, you know, it was mimicking the noises that it heard her make, and then it was just chattering throughout the camp to see if, you know, to see if she was there, or so, or something like that. Or, but it could have also been chattering to, like I said, I feel like there may have been more than one there. According to the wildlife expert, there probably was more than one there. I mean, there's
Wait. According to the wildlife,
she's an expert. Yeah, she's an expert.
But,
She
but
literally works.
what you're doing right now is you're confirming to everybody who's watching this that your friend, who's a forest ranger or a government official, is telling you they are there.
Well, again, she's taking everything with a grain of salt, you know.
She's saying
at its face value. At its face value.
And this is what would.
Yeah. Because here's the thing: none of there is no. Well, one, that'd be career suicide for any of them. But there is no. Well, because you have to think about the context of what you're implying. You know, let's say it is a primate of some sort, you know, then it's a very, very endangered species. You're going to have idiots out there trying to shoot these things.
Yep,
that
Danny,
whole thing.
it was after
immediately,
you,
and then it will
buddy.
immediately go extinct. But let's say let's go the other route, and let's say it's like you know how they had found Neanderthals and or of some sort back in like the 1700s, which meant that they didn't all die out, that they had kind of survived. Right. Well, let's say that it's that event all over again, and there, you know, this is some form of a ape, which I could actually get into as well. You know, some sort of a less evolved human, and they're out there. You know, at that point, does it become murder if somebody goes out there and kills one of them? You know, those are all hard questions, and for the person who confirms and all that other stuff, you know, all that's going to be on your head for the rest of the time that you ever walk the earth. You know, they're going to be your family is the reason why there are no Bigfoots. You know, you guys got on blah blah.
Well,
you know?
no, because there's more than one Bigfoot.
For sure. If it's out there, it's definitely got to be more than one out there. But again, you know, the implications. I mean, there's so many more implications than most people even think about. It's
so. What did you come away with it with?
What I came away with, I feel if it was what you guys go out there to see and interact with, you know, I mean, you guys could, like I said, you guys could be interacting with a giant Furby at this point. I'm not sure, but I do have to say that I went into the situation, like I said, a skeptic. I was there to observe and do. My job is to run these cameras. My job isn't to be anybody's best friend. It's not, you know. My job is to try to make sense of what I'm seeing and then make it to where people can watch the experience. So yeah, I didn't know quite what experience to give people at that point because I wasn't quite sure what I had experienced. I will say that I experienced something that was definitely out of the ordinary and it was not explainable.
Don't mess with the mic. I mean.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, but definitely not explainable. I have to say. Well, actually, we need to reset these cameras really quick.
Stand by. We're gonna reset the cameras really quick for TV. Stand by.
But we're still live on Facebook.
Absolutely. We're always on Facebook.
The iPhone is Facebook. Okay. The other one is live stream. Okay. And then he's doing the TV show with these three right here.
We good?
So like if you want to like shake your finger at your friends,
so
live stream is like.
Okay, so continue.
Yeah. What I would have to say.
You can even get on your phone.
Good.
Oh yeah. I have to say, coming off of the experience,
like I'm on live stream,
I have to say that there is something to what you guys are doing. There's definitely something going on that you guys are trying to investigate and you guys are having experience with. I think that the methodology, as with every Bigfoot hunter, may be flawed here and there, but I feel that overall the fact that you guys have gotten as far as you guys have with what you have is that, I mean, there's something to say about that, definitely. You know, that's not an easy task. I mean, you got guys who spend millions and millions of dollars and go on crazy expeditions to find panda bears. You know, You have guys who do some very, very strange things, you know, in the ocean to find bacterial life and things like that, you know, and guys who dive super deep and find like goblin sharks and crazy things like that, you know, and you guys are kind of doing that, you know, in our own backyard, you know, so to say. So, you know, I feel that I don't know. I feel that, like, as far as it, like, yeah, confirmed Bigfoot.
No,
no, definitely not.
So, do you think if we had the proper equipment that we could have possibly got something that night?
Well, but see, to do that, you would have to understand the factors. But I don't think that all the factors are understood. I think that if you had there's specific pieces of equipment that I believe that if you did have, that you probably would have got something. For example, if we were using thermal cameras, I could have shot through the tent without opening the tent and told you exactly which, or at the very least gave you an outline of what you're looking at. I could tell you exactly how large it is.
I could have used the FLIR on that.
You know, if
bitch.
It was
yeah.
great. You know what? The FLIR looks through the tent too.
Yeah, it's because you're looking at a thermal. Now he just now thinks about that.
Yeah,
you know, but these are things that I mean, you know, I'm a camera guy. You know, the irony is I was just talking to the producer about this, and I was saying that there's never going to be a Bigfoot guy that takes clear enough photos for anyone to be like, this is definitive proof. For the fact that you're a Bigfoot guy. You're not a camera guy,
right?
You know, and if you think about these guys, when you see National Geographic, they have this majestic snow leopard only spotted in the wild, 15 times, and these guys are camping for like 3 months straight. They get like 5 shots of this thing, they're selling these shots for a crazy amount of money, but they're camping for 3 months straight to find this thing, and they're
longer,
crazy. The lenses on these cameras are crazy telescopic, and they're hoping that they got it when they see the thing. Or they may have 45 pictures, but of those 45 pictures, only 5 of them can be published. I mean, because I had told this story to a few of my friends, and in order to have a few of these experts even talk to me, I had to, because they're like, "Oh, you're a camera guy. Like, how did you not get a picture of this?" So I had to explain this to these guys. I was like, "Okay, so take your cell phone out, go to the bathroom, turn the lights off, take your cell phone out, and then try to take a selfie." Now that's an automatic camera. And I guarantee your camera will not be able to do that in the dark. I guarantee it won't do it. Now do it with the flash off. And tell me what you got. Because that's the type of lighting situation that we're in. There is no light.
Right. And we were trying to not have light.
And we're trying to they intentionally try to have as little light as possible to draw these things as close as they can get them to the camp. Because I'm guessing light is unnatural.
And it worked.
Yeah, I think, like I said,
it works almost every time.
There's a million different possibilities for what it could have been, but there's also there was ways to rule out what it wasn't. It wasn't a bear. If it had been a bear, it would have left tracks. And this goes back to something that the expert had pointed out to me, where I was like, we looked and we could not find tracks at all. We couldn't find anything. We couldn't find coyote prints. We couldn't find chicken prints. We couldn't find bear prints. We couldn't find cow prints. There was nothing there. And the dirt was, it's soft dirt. You could see our footprints in it.
We could see our footprints.
Yeah. So it struck me that one of the reasons why I was able to cover such a distance so fast may have been that it was on all fours, but not on the base of its palm. It may have just been on its fingertips or on its knuckles. And we weren't looking for knuckle prints.
The knuckle print on my
window. He did have knuckle prints on his window at the same exact spot we were at.
The same exact.
By my windows, right?
Maybe looking for maybe looking for footprints every single time is part of the flaw in looking for Bigfoots, where people who are looking for these things are, again, they're looking for something clear, definitive in what they've seen other people do. Monkey see, monkey do, and they're not looking at the behaviors of not just the animals that are there, but they're not looking at the behavior of the phylum that these animals just fit in general. When a gorilla is going to stalk its prey, a gorilla is not walking upright. A gorilla is on its fingertips or on its knuckles. It's walking as low, slow, sleek as possible. It wants to get as close as it can to you, because in their world, to go from being this, small object to this very, very large object is like the most terrifying thing in the world, and then
Helps them stun their prey.
Yeah, you're so scared you don't know how to react. And it's very large. I mean, silverbacks are a very, very large animal. So if you can imagine, this thing is slinking and stalking, trying not to be seen in the camp. And a lot of the people who've told Bigfoot stories have told stories about them crawling on their stomachs or on their fingertips and moving through low brush. So again, that could have been one of the reasons why we didn't find prints, because we weren't looking for the right prints. And that could also be one of the reasons why people who have encounters in their camps don't find prints. They're just not looking for what they should be looking for. Again, this goes back to having the correct equipment as well. If we had a thermal camera, I could see it stretched out. And I would say, like, this is much longer than a coyote. What's going on?
And you might have been able to see the print.
And
the leftover heat signature.
If it had been if it had been in the print for long enough, you would have, because he would have heated up the ground. However, I mean, that's like from Batman comic books.
Now, let's go back to a bear.
Okay.
We are guys. We are not. We had stuff everywhere. Food was left on tables. Trash bags were full with stuff. We did not put anything away before we went to sleep that night.
Yeah, actually, we had asked Jeff earlier in that evening about putting away food, and he was just like, "Man, it's just beans, dude. Forget it." Yeah. And definitely had a mess going.
I, for some reason, did not put out my electronic equipment that night. I am an electronic geek. I have sensors. I have night vision cameras that I put out everywhere. That night, for some reason, I did not put them out. And I told myself,
I think it had to do with the conversation that we had earlier, where again, I don't believe that you can use IR to track to locate a Bigfoot.
IR, no, but my motion.
No. Motion is IR. What's going to happen is you're going to get close enough for the light that it's emitting to bounce back into the sensor.
Okay.
The sensor is going to have it go off.
Well, what I found interesting.
So the $1 million question is.
Yeah.
Do you now believe?
Do I now believe in what?
Enough to go
I feel like I'm a skeptic. Again, I'm still a skeptic. I think that, but again, like anybody who's a true skeptic, I have to admit that something happened. There was something that went on.
So, do you think?
We do have to.
We could have hoaxed this because you were there.
I believe I'm a very, very hard person to hoax.
Okay.
And I don't. I'm not going to denote your intelligence. Definitely not. But
like, you guys ain't smart enough.
Well,
because,
no. Well,
I mean,
they would have had. You guys would have had
to really plan something big.
Well,
what I thought was interesting,
yeah,
and it didn't have anything to do with us, is when you were talking about the thing hitting the tent, and then you and Jeff go walking over to the only place that these things could hide within like 40 feet or 50 feet of the tent. It was there was the only place they could hide, and it was the only place they could throw something and hit the tent from at that place.
Yeah, I definitely, because the next day when you're thinking it's debris and leaves, berries, stuff falling off the tree. And if that were the case, then it would have been all over the tarp. Right. Especially for as frequent as the stuff was coming down. And when I think I have it on camera. I'll go ahead and put it in this episode. I shot the tarp on the way out, and there was nothing on the tarp. Like, it was like dirt, pebbles, things like that. But there was no debris from the tree. The tree was, I think the tree had dropped like maybe 4 or 5 things on the top of the tent that were still there, and maybe like 1 or 2 bugs. Wow. So it was a little alarming. It was, and that sense of security that you have when you go out there is, it's pretty bad. But then I don't want to say the area that we were at, because now I know the exact area we were at now. Okay. And what it entails. But to say that and people who work in the foresting industry, who are assigned to those areas, I can say that they do get calls, and that they definitely have something is going on. It's very remote. It's very remote because people don't go up there.
We'll take you guys up.
But at the same time, the people who work it, because you have to think that there are people who have to track wild animals, especially like the dangerous ones and such like that. People who have to track them, and a lot of them get tracked to the area where we were at, And the area we were at also feeds down into some places into the city that have we've been investigating and taking stories from, and now in my opinion, it kind of gives these people's stories a little more validity, and it definitely makes me take the stories you hear on the news from these areas with I'll say a bit more salt, definitely, because it's like that's not likely to happen in that area, and that's right around this, and yeah.
The interesting thing is that, just an observation, is that you had a female on this time, and you also had an experience with your wife. So I'm wondering if the female factor and the pheromones maybe that females are emitting, I wonder if that's a trigger.
Bigfoot researchers, they've been knowing that for a long time.
Oh, okay.
You got to reset the cameras.
The pheromones and then like we always joke around, like when
we good?
When it's the wife's time of the month, that's when she goes Bigfooting with us.
Well, but see, that only supports the idea that it could be some subspecies of human, because if the human pheromones are what's doing it, it's got to be something in the primate family, and it's got to be something pretty close to human in order for those pheromones to affect it the way it does. So
this is where we lost time too. The same place.
Yeah.
Well, and
exactly.
The other interesting thing is that the ancient alien theory is that the people from beings from outer space came and messed with our.
Oh, you're talking about
yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Sumerian,
and that's how we became.
Well, I mean that's the basic Christianity. If you want to take this one step deeper and root this back in science. I could do that for you. So
now you guys understand what I mean by this guy is a smarty.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm serious.
I could root it back in science for you. So through haplogroup testing, we could tell where people are from on the planet. I mean, there's a million places that do this, and you could figure out your ancestry and things like that. So one of these things that you can that they've been looking at is how much Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal are in your DNA. Obviously, if you're a Caucasoid of any sort, you're going to have a lot of Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal, as they believe that breeding Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal breeding with Homo sapien is what caused that mutation, as Homo sapiens had been around for about 100 and something thousand years, and like the last real mutation of them were we'll call them the Africans and that whole thing. So so we know that humans were breeding with other close species and things like that. So in the Himalayas, they were testing Asians, and they found that there are a few, I can't say for certain how many, but there are a couple of mystery groups that are in there. And who's to say that, well, actually, and one of the reasons why I know why they know it happened is basically the people moved there, they interbred with whatever it was, and then whatever it was died out there. So who's to say that these same group of Asians who would be the ones to cross over a land bridge to become Eskimos and that whole thing, who's to say that group of people didn't migrate with this group of primates and or apes, and that would be what you're looking at here. And the other thing is for a lot of people who are telling stories, well, and and just because now you're talking about this is a populist thing. This goes back with I got some theories on that. Because you have to think about the population.
Oh, I know, but I mean, what if these hairy creature things?
Oh, we're just taken with them.
Yeah, they just. Grab the women
well, see,
and maybe some.
Well, you have to look at what the
Himalayan.
you have to look at what the Himalayan people in the Himalayas believe about the Bigfoot and about Yetis, because they don't believe that they're stupid people.
Right.
They believe that they're educated. There are a few that they say that are monks. There's actually that hand that guy stole a finger from, and then got like inconclusive DNA, and they went back and they tested the same finger because. Hashtag science, and they tested the DNA from like the fake. I mean, he didn't bring the finger back. It didn't make any sense for them to test that finger, but they tested the same exact finger that he tested, and it was like, oh well, it's human. But even then, for if it was something close to human, you would still, you'd still see that. So. Like I said, who's to say that whatever that ape is or whatever that is isn't what we're seeing in this area? And
was here first.
Well,
before we came along.
Well, I wouldn't even say. Well, he came into the land bridge.
Tribes here, in America, they were here first.
Well, I think they were here before that specific group of people, but that specific, because even, man, when you get into like Mesoamerican history, it gets very, very muddy. A lot of people's feelings get hurt. Suffice it to say that with the education I have from college, I can say that the majority of what they teach you in elementary school and high school about American and Native American and South American history is absolutely 150% wrong.
Well, I didn't learn it from there. I learned it from the actual medicine man.
Yeah, but the problem with that, but now you're talking about hearsay, oral tradition. I mean, I believe that because these people's pass things down through oral tradition. I believe that that for them will be stronger than one guy coming out and going, okay, so where'd you guys come from? Okay, I wrote it down. It's in this book. Now this is solid for forever. Or or even like people who are not from that group of people showing up and going, oh well, you know what? We looked at these Native Americans, these Native Americans. They all look kind of similar, and these guys say they come from here. These guys say they come from here, so they must come from here. And it's like this third group's like, nah, dude, we all like migrated. So I mean, like I said, you can look at like haplogroup testing is like the best way. For a lot of Native American people, digging up these bodies is it's scary for them. It's very scary for them because now you're talking about destroying their legacy. And if you look on the, hopefully some of you guys are the Google crowd, so they can they do the research on this. A lot of these guys that are doing these group tests do not care about how you feel about what they are doing. Some of them are even doing it in spite of these, I'm not going to say in spite of Native Americans in these groups, but just in spite of the current system we have because they're looking for answers. They're scientists to the max, So
they're using some of the same methods that doctors used in the earlier. But because the thing is, it's not that what they're doing is illegal. It's what they're doing is looked down upon. Right. Because we have a certain respect in our culture for bodies. I mean, if you went digging up Asia, and you went to find like the oldest people there, you're not going to find Asians. That continent wasn't populated by them until specific periods. So if you went to places in Britain, and you dug up bodies there, haplogroup testing proved that anything that touched the Mediterranean Ocean at one point, I think it was before 400 BC, was a one-race nation. They all looked the same. They were all, the same race of people, and then it was through interbreeding and integration, true integration, where you're allowing these people to not just come in as slaves and things like that, but you're allowing them to come in and be equal with you, that allowed these people to rise to power and things like that, which is kind of like what we're doing here in America, if you can imagine that place being a melting pot, So, yeah, I don't know. Fascinating stuff.
This guy is my camera guy, guys.
Yeah.
He just shoots the show. He doesn't do anything.
Dude, this guy's
anything else.
Awesome.
No, but only you edit, and that takes a lot, right there.
Oh yeah. You got to make you guys sound intelligent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
We are already at 8:15. You still want to shoot some outros with me late after this, right?
We could actually use the interview we did earlier as the outro for your show.
What interview?
Because we did an interview earlier. Yeah, up when we were Bigfoot hunting.
Okay, I don't remember.
We shot at that mart, and they didn't give me like a.
So you just.
So I can just use that. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's our.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
There's a plan, man.
Good.
Okay. There's a divine plan.
Okay. This show is 2 hours long. We're already at 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
There is still a lot more to go.
Right.
Shoot. Do you want to call? Do you want to cut it right now?
Yeah, we could always set this up for a future engagement or something.
Well, go ahead and just cut the cameras now, and then go ahead and break down. And you guys want to stick around? Is that right?
Yeah.
And we'll continue on with the stuff that we still have a lot to talk about.
We can always come back. We don't have to stay today, but if you want to.
Do you want to come back next Sunday?
Can we come back next Sunday?
Oh, it's Father's Day, isn't it?
It's next Sunday. I don't know.
You might think it is. Yeah.
Have kids?
Oh, so you probably don't want to come back
You
Sunday.
guys don't have kids.
If they're grown.
I was like, hold on.
You want a Father's Day special? I'm okay. It's his day. So
Right. No, you go home, you kick back on the couch, you have a beer, and you relax. So let's do this. Well, shoot. You want to just go ahead and talk for another half hour, 30 minutes, and we'll end it. And you can come back another time and we'll finish off.
Yeah, we sure.
Okay. Oh,
Whatever you want.
give her the mic, Chris, please.
Thank you, Chris, for sharing that, because that really, that's amazing.
I have some theories that I would probably love.
See, I would love to get Chris in here, and we could probably do a 5-hour show.
You probably can. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
He's got so much information, and
Yeah.
very articulate.
Yes.
Well, Dan,
So
he was
it's
on here. He's like,
extremely
like
easy
the
to
show's
understand.
gonna
You
go
it just
another
flows
hour.
very well. Exactly. It's all good.
And trust me
So-
when I say we used to have a 3-hour show here.
Mm-hmm.
and we still would go long.
And when we were with art, we were on the Art Bell Network, and we were 3 hours long, and then but we cut it down to 2 hours, and people got pissed. Like, what did you do that for? Because they want more. They want more. They love this stuff.
Well,
People
it's
love this stuff.
fascinating.
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
And when you
yeah.
have great guests and
And your cameraman is just awesome.
yeah, it's like, man, we can do this again and get you there. But I've been wanting to get him in here, and for some reason, well, he's a busy guy. I mean, trust me when I say, okay, today is Sunday.
Uh-huh.
He has to have this episode in by Tuesday.
Right.
Okay, so he has to edit. He has to sound. He does everything. This guy does it. Okay, this guy's the man.
You're
right
very
here.
fortunate.
This guy's making me look good.
When you turn on the TV and you're watching the show,
Mm-hmm.
he probably did everything. You know what I mean? Pretty much.
I do have an assistant. Juan is pretty awesome.
Okay.
So Juan comes and we basically do the show in like I think it's like a 48-hour turnaround.
Wow.
And that,
yeah.
see,
Compared to finding Bigfoot.
people have, when they do 13 episodes, they usually give them 6 months to do it.
Yeah.
They're giving these guys 3 days.
Yeah.
The
To do-
CW
to
is
do-
giving you.
Well, it's
3
because
days?
Well, it has to do with the filming schedule. And
Right.
When the episodes are due.
Oh, okay.
It's not like they're intentionally like, oh my God, we have to cut you guys short.
right. That,
But,
no, that wasn't the case
um,
at all.
We just, I don't know, my crew just works really efficient. You know, I got 2 other guys I'm very fortunate to work with. And I come from the film world. So the television world is like, it's a little different. It is a little different. You know, I don't want to say it's like training wheels,
Mm-hmm.
but it is, there are things that you do production-wise that you could, as far as film, if you did it, it's like a big no-no, and you have to worry about these things. But in television, it's like, oh, that's perfectly fine, you know.
Oh, okay.
So you basically just establish your workflow, and then we're really, really efficient about going through cutting material and things like that. And when I say we have to comb through everything, we have guests that language filters and things like that. There's like imagery that has to be cut out. There are things we catch in post, you know, after we've done all the work, and we'll spend another 4 or 5 hours rendering it, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's a daunting task. It's a daunting
Dedicated.
task. Yeah.
Dedicated and intelligent.
Yeah, and then in film, like I'm a line producer, so as a line producer, you kind of do all of this stuff. In anyway, like I'm currently fixing, or I'm constantly fixing other people's, mistakes and things like that. So, yeah, it's a job. It's a job.
You're lucky, Jeff.
And what's best about this is he loves this stuff.
Yeah.
So when somebody loves the content that he's filming, he puts his 150% into it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's when when he came when he walked in, when I brought in the producer one day and he walked in and he goes, "What the hell is this doing in this guy's backyard?" Right? And then this guy walks in, and he's like a little kid in a candy store. I remember that. And then RS said, "He's gonna love it. He's gonna love it."
Oh yeah, the X-Files pinball machine. He won me over. Like, oh man, I'm a huge X-Files fan. I love me some aliens.
Okay, well, while he's packing up, let's go ahead and continue on a little bit longer, if that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. What do you want
and
to talk about?
So where did we finish? Obviously, God. I don't remember where we actually finished off.
I don't
when
either.
Let's see if these guys know.
No.
They know where we are.
Let's save all this for next time.
Sounds good.
Okay, and let's continue talking about just the sheriff and.
I think he wants to know a little bit more about our adventures in law
Absolutely.
enforcement.
Come on, don't hold back. Didn't I give you enough tequila?
All right.
Go ahead, honey.
Before I was a deputy,
Okay.
I worked at the hospital in Fresno.
Okay, which hospital?
at Fresno Community.
Okay.
And they had it was called the G Ward at the time, and they would
5150.
yeah, it's kind of a pejorative term now, but they would bring people in, and they'd bring them to the emergency room, and then they'd check them, and as soon as they were healthy enough, they knew they're healthy, they didn't have any other problems, they would take them to up on the, if I remember right, the 4th floor on the G Ward. Well, I was working security, and I would get called down to watch them, and we were talking about how interesting it was sometimes when it wasn't the person there was somebody else in there. I mean, like they were
Possessed.
they were
Possessed.
like possessed, and the things that they would say, and even some of the different voices that they would have. And I'm like, okay, if someone's really and truly crazy, why are you coming up with that voice, and why are you saying those words? I mean, it was really, sometimes it was so bizarre to like see it, and sometimes even frightening. And I would be with them sometimes for an hour or two in the emergency room, because they'd be in a room before they took them up, before they had space for them, so they could check them in. And then even on the way up, and I never got the feeling that anybody was playing it. There had been a break or something inside of them, and that was someone different. And like I would see them sometimes when they'd come out, and when they would let them out after they give them medicine, and that was a completely different person, like different voice, different mannerisms, different physical mannerisms.
Okay.
So that's just.
Oh, I got to give you the audio of the show. I got to give you the audio, right?
Yeah.
So I got to shut this down before you leave.
Yeah.
So okay. Yeah. So we're gonna have to end this because he needs the audio of the show for the CW.
We'll be back.
Got it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Facebook.
Okay.
Huh?
Man, and we'll pick up right there because that is interesting.
You know what?
Okay.
What we're gonna do is, unfortunately, we'll stop at live stream, but we can continue on Facebook. All right. Well, you know what? All right. You know what? Just come back.
Yeah.
We can do a whole new 2 hours with you guys still.
'Cause
I mean, seriously.
we'll tick everybody off if we do cut one feed and then do another.
Because we're gonna upset the people on in New Zealand and Australia who's watching us right now. Because if we cut off on live stream and we go on Facebook, they're gonna miss out, and I don't want you guys to miss out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not fair.
And
It's
they
not
said that they can't take any more breaks anyways because they're tired of drinking.
That's not
Get-
true.
they're-
That's
they
not
said
true.
they're getting
That's
drunk.
not true.
No, not you guys.
Oh,
These
them.
guys.
Oh,
They're
okay.
like, we can continue, just no more breaks. I can't take another shot.
Well, you know, we
I
actually,
love it.
yeah. So, okay, well, guys, that is it for the show. Wow,
It was great.
wow, right?
Thank you for having us. Thank
This
you.
was one of those on the top, up there. Thanks, Kathy. Tracy. Why do I call you?
I was like, do I look like a
Why
Kathy?
do I
I
call
don't know.
you Kathy? Tracy. Yeah, thank
The
you
cough
guys.
medicine. The cough medicine.
It's the cough medicine.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is. I had 4 of these already.
right.
And Chris, for tuning in, dude.
Bust out
Thank
the
you much
Jell-O.
for telling your story. Appreciate it. Why did I call you Kathy?
You called me that at the beginning and then now at the end. So I don't know. Maybe
don't
there's
know.
a.
I mean, I know
Maybe I
you as Tracy.
resemble
Why do I call
a
you
Kathy.
Kathy?
I
Okay.
don't know.
All right, guys, that is it for us. I am just going to turn off everything. I'm not going to put the music on because the camera guy needs light. And I want to say thank you for tuning in. For Jeffrey, the rest of the gang.
Thank you, guys.
Adios. We'll see you guys next. Actually, you know what? Next Sunday is Father's Day, right? Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
it is,
Yeah. I don't think we should have a show.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you guys. Oh no! But it's only fair for the dads to relax and spend time with the family and get pampered by the wives.
Yep.
And
Man,
there you
my
go.
wife.
So all right, you guys take care.
I hope you're not
We'll see you
listening.
in a couple of weeks. All right. Take care. Bye.
Slap me now.